Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome, a long-awaited Gymbreakers final for y'all here on Pallet Town PvP, and it is going to be worth the wait because this is an absolute barn burner. This is the Gymbreakers Sovereign Cup final we have for you today between the Italians from Italy and the Netherlands, aka the Dutch. Just crossing all my bases off there. Clearly, I'm in fine form. It has been too long, Gymbreakers fans, but I am back. The voice of Gymbreakers is back in action. You all have been waiting. You all have been wishing, and finally, those prayers have been answered. I am Final Boss AJ. I am the Queen of Ice. I am the best-known Canadian battler since Kevin Saladaris, and I am back on your airways to take you through this epic clash between one of the powerhouses of Gymbreakers in Italy versus the upstart Netherlands side. We are going to go through it here very shortly. But first, you all know I can't do this alone. I never do this alone. And we have assembled a crack team for you here today. Starting with, I'll go clockwise. Starting with the man to my right, a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway because he deserves it. He is a play Pokemon caster. You saw him at EUIC in London working his stuff on stream. You saw him at Utrecht winning the thing and making Wigglytuff Giratina Core a problem. He is a legend in this community. I am so excited to be casting alongside him today. The man, the myth, the inadequates, aka Martine. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, good. That's quite the introduction. I haven't gotten in a long while. Thank you for that. I'm excited.
Hey, Gymbreakers debut. I gotta make you sound good, right? I gotta hype you up. He is representing the Dutch here in this final, so we can expect a little bit of bias, but that's why you have me here, the neutral party, the Canadians here, to balance out the heat between the Netherlands and Italy. And then to help me balance that out, we wanted another neutral party, but since there are no Swiss commentators, we turned to Australia, and the father of Pallet Town PvP, the man who has, been on the sticks so many times, I can't count. He is on screen for y'all today, helping provide that Commonwealth flavor to this all-European battle. He is FishOnAHeater. What is up, Fish?
Oh, g'day, mate. How you going? Super excited.
Steve, is that you?
Yeah, that's right. Like, in Australia, we kind of worship him. He's on our $50 note. We're considering making a Mount Rushmore, like our own version of Mount Rushmore, and putting him as the only face.
Very nice. Hey, as long as Rocket Claire gets to 10, I'm happy.
Yeah, she's next. She'll be put as a secondary face just under Steve's face on the Mount Rushmore.
Love it. And because we have Martijn here representing the Netherlands, we do, of course, have someone to step up to the plate for Italy to make sure Martijn doesn't have his way here on commentary. A veteran of Gymbreakers broadcast. I've gotten the pleasure to cast with him before. We have brought him back again, and you can tell just how excited he is to watch this battle, to watch his countrymen go at it. See Leonardo77 representing Italy. What is up, Leo?
Hey, thank you. Thanks, AJ, for the introduction. Nice to be here again. Let's hope to see some great battles as always. Grand finals are always full of great plays. So yeah, can't wait to watch some.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's been a long time, but I am back here and ready and raring to go. I know this cast is ready to go. So let's just give you a quick reminder. If you're new to this Gymbreakers format, what we have here are 4 pairs, 2 battlers each representing their respective countries. They will go head to head against another opposing pair. They will battle in 3 battles each for a maximum of 6 points that they can earn for their country. And since there are 48 battles, the first to 25 will be declared champion of this match and champion of the Sovereign Cup. That is the meta that we are in here today. And I don't know about y'all, but this is definitely a tale of 2 metas with this one. There was the previous format where it looked like, oh, and maybe Ferret's gonna be a thing finally, and Ferret will actually get a shot in the spotlight. And then the move update happened, and Brick Break was buffed, and they were like, oh, we can't have Ferret in here. So let's run down what Sovereign Cup is for the people here. So this was an interesting format. Basically, you had 5 types allowed: electric, ice, fairy, normal, and psychic. There were 4 band types. You weren't allowed steel, you weren't allowed ground, you weren't allowed rock, you weren't allowed ghosts, you weren't allowed mega Pokemon. And then we had your typical band sprinkled in: Greedent, Charjabug, Azumarill, Litleo, Miltank, Cresselia, Lickitung, Lantern, the entire Arctibax line, Bellabolt, Zangoose, Abomasnow, and Munchlax, all banned from participating in this cup. And then not only that, banned moves as well, just to really put the playing field on notice. Weren't allowed to have counter, dynamic punch, double kick, or charm. And then Brick Break got added when it got buffed. So clearly a meta designed to take away a lot of negative type matchups for these normal Pokemon to allow them to kind of flourish in here. And we saw that in a lot of the team building here. I know I'm talking a lot, so I'm just gonna take a break and let y'all discuss this meta. I mean, Inadequance, Leonardo, you 2 are in this final. You are now very well versed in this meta. What did you think of it going through and trying to build a team for it?
So I think initially, before the Brick Break buff, Ferret was one of the Pokemon that I had my eyes on, and I built one. I invested a lot of Stardust, and then halfway, Brick Break was buffed, and then it was bad afterwards. So that changes a little bit of the normal type meta here. Obviously, Pokemon like Double, Oinkoloin, and even Castform in some sort, as you say, normal type Pokemon have been very strong in this meta. So yeah, that was kind of my take. Like, if you want to play it safe, you can bring normal type Pokemon, but there were also like other picks such as Galvantula, Latios. But I think, Leonardo, I think you were part of designing this, so maybe you know more of the idea behind this, no?
Yeah, I I put some modifications on it, but Wildcat that was the meta developer in charge for this. It was already a pre-built meta that he had used somewhere else. We tried just to adjust it, so we removed some dangerous picks and try not to be too RPS with Charger Bug, Lethio, and Azumarill, but we left Pyro in because Pyro is glassier than Lethio. It can be killed more easily than Lethio, but yeah. So if you want to be super safe, of course, triple normal is usually the way to go, or triple tackle user if you are really a bad person. And I used to run triple tackle user in demo monthly cups. But for Gymbreakers, my team was slightly different because triple tackle user didn't really guarantee me any true advantage. So I wanted to be slightly more polarizing with my picks. So that's why we have Shadow Latios, or Pyro, or Galvantula, Galarian Slowbro. All these Pokemon are really useful to do some nice damage, to be slightly more unpredictable, and to output a diverse damage typing wise.
You know, you two talk up the double normals. I guarantee you, I was the only one running double ice. As you know, per usual. I guarantee I was the double ice one. Fish, what did you think just looking at this meta? What stood out to you?
Look, it might sound basic, but I just leaned so hard on that pig. Like, Oinkologne just carried me through so many matchups. I also threw in a lot of Dunsparce in a lot of my battles, because a lot of a Pokemon that I was seeing on my opponents, if they didn't have the normal typing, they were weak to at least one of Dunsparce's moves. It didn't do particularly well against the other normals, though, so it was like a bit of a... That's where kind of the chess match of team competition comes in, right? Like, it's Dunsparce is kind of good against this one subset of the meta, and then not good against the other half of that meta.
Yeah. It is very, very difficult when you have it in that normal matchup. It cannot keep up with the tacklers, as Leonardo said. But clearly these two teams were able to adjust to this meta. So let's see how the Italians and the Dutch got to this final with our bracket. So both sides finished in the top two of their respective groupings in the group stage. And you can see the bracket here. Italy having a relatively easier time taking out Peru B, aka Lima, and then demolishing India in a semi-final somewhere. Vroom Vroom Pow is weeping. 27-12, the Italians put down India. And then for the Dutch, this has been a tough fight, a narrow escape against Mexico in the quarterfinals, and then one of the teams I've gotten very familiar with casting here in these Gymbreakers finals, Brazil in the semis, and the Netherlands able to end the Brazilian reign there, 26-21, and set up this matchup. And Martijn, I'll start with you. In all my time in casting Gymbreakers, one of the big questions has always been, what if the Netherlands actually entered a team? How would they do? Because, you know, the Netherlands been very quiet in this Gymbreakers format. We finally got our answer here, and y'all took no prisoners in getting to this final. What was the mentality of this Dutch side coming in and really wanting to establish itself at this level?
Yeah, it's interesting because the way it started is Shona asked a couple of us, and we've done Gymbreaks before, but at the time it was like, I believe you had 2 days to schedule with opponents, and when you're playing against opponents from Latin America or North America or even Australia, the time zones get a little bit difficult, and it's difficult scheduling. So back then we gave up, but now there was no more Silph factions, and we want to play another team format. Many of the Dutch players were interested, and we know each other quite well. I believe half of them were in a team called Team Utrecht, and then there was also like me, Howie, and then Tho later on also joined. So that's basically how we came together to play Gymbreakers here again, and I think it has been going quite well. Yeah,
I would say you're in the final. I think it's going pretty well for you. You're showing out a little bit. Leonardo, the Italians, again, no strangers to this stage. 12 trophies in their case compared to the 0 for the Netherlands. This is obviously a different opponent for you guys, considering the battles you've had with Brazil, France, Spain in the past. How do you take this new opponent in the Netherlands into this final?
Well, I mean, if you look at the names on the Netherlands roster, of course there are some very heavy names that you really have to be aware of, and so try not to underestimate anyone. Of course, we know that everyone at this point of the bracket is super strong, otherwise they wouldn't be there. Yeah, but as I was saying to Normal Line after our matches, it's good to see that Netherlands players started back playing Gymbreakers, because they really have some very, very strong players around, and so it's also nice to see Statastan around again for Gymbreakers. I played with him in UK a couple of years ago, so it's good to see that he's back around.
Absolutely. And you can see the rosters here, a lot of well-known names. That pair 1 for the Netherlands might be one of the best in the world, honestly. It's right up there with Vani and Polishaw for Spain. And again, the Italian side, no slouch. Italy dummied Canada in the group stage. That was kind of rough. But Fish, you look at these rosters, like, it's clear the talent's on display. What's it going to take for one of these teams to really separate itself from the others in this Sovereign Cup meta?
Oh, you know what? It's so hard to tell in the moment, right? Because like there is so much variance in this game. Like these two sides, or every player on the roster is at the top of the game, and so it can come down to like. Often a lot of these battles can be decided once the leads are seen. Like it's that close and that tight, so it's really just hard to split them.
Very fair. And you know, we'll get into the battles here very, very shortly. Inadequance, Leonardo, obviously we see both your names on there. You both are involved in this battle. If you could highlight one battler who you think might go a little under the radar here in this matchup, starting with Inadequance, who would you highlight as that battler?
That will be Gideon. The guy barely plays the game, but when he does, he sometimes just goes like 6-0 or 5-1. It's crazy, honestly. I'm like, you don't even play the game. You don't do anything. Why do you win? It's crazy. But he does it, and he carries.
Leonardo.
Well, if I have to make a name for Italy side, I would say that Dusan Ristic deserves some recognition. He's been under the radar for quite a long time. He's not really playing GBL or play Pokemon, but he's really strong in custom metas. So it's always a threat.
Awesome. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, I've wasted enough of Fish's time. We're going to get into these battles, but first, we are going to give a shout out to our sponsor at Pogo Raiders. If you're looking for an online tool for hosting or joining raids, check out Pogo Raiders. They have been optimizing a fully custom raiding organization tool for over a year with over 3,000 raids a day and over 150,000 members. You must try their free raiding tool. And it's also a dedicated community of Pokemon Go players. You can join monthly PvP tournaments with cash prizes and find help from some of the best players in the world, along with access to infographics and information about everything upcoming in Pokemon Go. You can check them out at pogoraiders.gg or on Discord at discord.gg/PogoRaiders. And we thank them for their continued sponsorship of these Gymbreakers finals, which we are going to start getting into right now. We are going to come with the fastball, me and Inadequance, on the ride for these first three battles with you, Inadequance, and we are going to start in pair number 2, 13 Joppy 37 versus 7 WS7. And we mentioned some of these Pokemon off the bat. In Sovereign, Normal has been dominant. We see the Oinkologne on both sides. We see Dubwool, but Shadow Latios you mentioned as a potential a fast move pressure. And then after that, the variance on these two teams is already starting to stand out. We got Beware, we got Hypno, we got the Pyroar that Leonardo mentioned. Joppy bringing a more conventional team, but the Hypno and the Shadow Celio on 7W side is very interesting.
Yeah, let me make it easier for you. 7 would probably prefer his name to be pronounced as Wes. So that'll be easier. Yeah, so the Hypno is like a team thing. Guido, one of our players in pair 4, did very well with it against Brazil. I think he went 6-0 against them last week. And it was like a team effort to go Hypno. So you'll see a lot of those on our teams. It has been very good. Italy brought quite a lot of Eradicates, though, not on Joppy's side, so that made Hypno very viable there. And then we also like an Ice type to keep the Latios in check, because it's very common in the latest battles.
Hey, I mean, Wes has got my heart in this battle with that Shadow Celio. Not the Ice types I was using, but hey, any Ice type is gonna curry favor from me, Martine. We've been talking for a half an hour. Let's start getting into some battles. How about that?
I'm with you. Let's see it. I'm very curious to see how these players have played it.
Well, that Hypno is going to be in action right away for Wes against Double, probably the most popular lead in this meta, and you can see it starting to work away with these tackles, not allowed to use its signature double kick, but this Hypno is going to fire first with a Psyshock here, Martine.
Yeah, Psyshock is that neutral charge attack that gives it so much better play in the normal type meta. We also have Hypno to keep other Pokemon like Beware in check, and also against Whimsicott. That's why Wes probably is running that Ice Punch there. It has play against about anything on Joppy's side. This is only a Body Slam. Even a Wild Charge Hypno can take quite comfortably because it's so bulky.
Yeah, that was one of the big things I was going to say about Hypno, but Joppy decides to take this Ice Punch on the Oink alone, banking that energy on Double for use later in this matchup, and Wes is going to respond with the pig of his own, and Babe's got to cover the eyes because these pigs are going to all-out war against each other, a scene we've seen a lot here in Sovereign as these body slams start flying in, and they're doing very little to the Oink alone here, Martin. I think that's why it's been such a popular pick here.
Yeah, it's a very safe Pokemon. Now, one thing that I think is very important for this match, if we look at the backline, we see the Whimsicott versus Celio later on. But the more shields there are in play, the better this is going to be for Wes, because Whimsicott really relies on the charge attacks, unless it's running Razor Leaf. This is something that Whimsicott also has, because Charm is not allowed, but you have another fast attack that can hit quite hard. Joppy still has Switch Advantage here, but in this meta, Switch Advantage is usually not that important, the energy is, and we see Joppy reaching for the Switch immediately. It is Razor Leaf though, and it's going to choke on the Celio!
There's the fast move pressure out of this Whimsicott, usually running Fairy Wind, but it's not going to matter here as Wes has got to start peeling these shields away. There's the first one on the Shadow Body Slam. Can the Celio even survive to get another? Just barely, Martine getting this one off, and Joppy's gonna let it go through on this Whimsicott.
Yeah, at this point, I think Joppy knows he doesn't really need the shield anymore. They're taking out this Pokemon and then getting to this charge attack on the Hypno. Wes has got to shield this, but I'm not sure if Hypno's healthy enough to take out the rest of these Pokemon. Is there still enough energy on Double or Oinkologne here?
There's still energy on that Double, and that's a problem for this Hypno with that 4-turn confusion. Joppy's going to be able to get both these body slams off here, potentially. Here comes the first one, drawing that shield out of Wes. No more shields for the Dutch battler. Can Joppy get this? Very easily, and that is going to do it for this Hypno. It's bulky, but it can't take that many hits, and Joppy is going to put the first point on the board in this Sovereign Cup final here for Italy. Just Hypno could not make up the difference there with all that energy Joppy had. That catch on the Oinkologne, saving that energy for the endgame, proved so valuable against the rather slow Hypno.
Yeah, I think Wes had a good feeling there. If it was going to be Whimsicott in the back, then Celio would have been great. At that point, you're probably more afraid of a potential power in the back, where the Power Snow Celio is not that great. But man, then bringing out that Razor Leaf Whimsicott, that really changed Wes' mindset, because he now brings in the Latios, which has a slightly better matchup against Whimsicott. I still wouldn't say it's great though, but this is a pretty good lead, because this is a good win in the one shield that Latios has.
Absolutely right, Martine. With Razorleaf Whimsicott, this Latios is now feeling much safer for Wes, I imagine, not having to deal with the Fairy Winds. It's still fragile, though. Has to shield that Body Slam. And Joppy is gonna bring in the Whimsicott, choosing to use that resistance profile instead of the damage here.
Oof.
And does shield the Psychic. That's a big shield. But now this Hypno gets to come in, work on this Whimsicott, and he's already revealed the Ice Punch here. That is big knowledge for this Italian team. Now they have the Hypno moveset for the rest of this final. And Hypno just does not care. Just going to go to work on this Whimsicott and try and take it off the field here.
Yeah, but this Moonblast is really hard. If Wes does not shield this, this might knock out the Hypno. I think you might barely hang on. No, you don't. It knocks out the Hypno.
Does. Yeah,
that's
that
so much damage.
Take it out. That Moonblast just hits so hard. It's really the main thing Whimsicott has to offer is just that clear out shot. And here comes Oinkalone. This is going to be a nice little bit of an energy lead here for this Oinkalone. And we know how important that is with these tackle-on-tackle matchups. The person who has the most energy usually ends up victorious here. But Joppy's going to fire first with this Body Slam.
Yeah, this is going to be rough though. Yes, you have the energy lead, and yeah, that allows you to get to those body slams a little bit quicker than the opponent does. But your Latios has no energy because the Psychic that was thrown earlier by it was shielded. Psychic is a little bit cheaper than Luster Purge. It still hits quite hard on all these Pokemon, but you needed the energy because now, without energy, this might really seem a problem. This Oinkalone will still hang on this Body Slam, and then there's still half a double left as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Joppy decides to do, bringing that double back in. The same time, Wes has that Latios. Can it get to this Dragon Claw? It gets to the Dragon Claw with little HP to spare here, forcing that final shield out of Joppy. But can this Oinkalone finish the job? It has to be able to take all this energy from this double. Joppy does get to 2, and I don't think that one tackle is going to be enough here, Martine.
Yeah, one tackle snuck through. You can only win this if the next tackle will knock out. But double has quite some HP on its stat, and it will get this Body Slam off. That is a 2-0 win here for Joppy. Very well played.
It is 2-0. Unfortunately for Wes, though, that does not end his battle against Joppy. You do all 3 battles in Gymbreakers because 3 points are on offer in each matchup. So Wes has got to try and salvage a point here just to keep the Italian side from putting a sweep on the board early here. And in Gymbreakers, you know, these sweeps are huge. That 3-point swing can be so devastating to a matchup, especially as tight as this one. And Wes is pulling out all the stops here. There's Beware on the field. An interesting pick, but these Shadow Claws are doing nothing. It's all about the charge moves with this Beware.
Oh, and the bait, shielding it immediately. Joppy is thinking that his opponent is just going to bait, or superpower and dip, but it's a bait. He shields that up, and this is very good for Wes. The Shadow Claws don't add up, but if you can land a superpower, it would do a lot of damage. This Body Slam won't knock out the Beware, but it looks like Wes does want to preserve some HP there to get some more charge stacks off.
Yeah, I think seeing Joppy run that double normal at him both times, he wants this Beware to be active in the end game. Here comes the superpower, no shielded by Joppy, and it does a ton of damage to that double. I don't think it left with a Body Slam, Martine, so this pig-on-pig action is going to be clean, and will that double factor in the end game? We don't know just yet.
Yep, these Oinkies are boinking against each other on even energy as well, because Joppy predicted that Wes would dip out after the superpower immediately. And obviously Joppy could not double shield there, right? Because he has the Latios in the back. Latios is so fragile that you need to keep the shields for that, really. This is going to play out here, and I think with the amount of HP that double has, Wes might be in a good spot here. He might even be able to Shadow Claw it down with the Beware later.
I mean, winning that cap tie definitely helps Wes's cause, getting this Body Slam on first. Not enough to take out the opposing Oinkalone, but now Wes has a choice here. Oh, this is a bit of an undercharge from Joppy here, maybe wanting to save a little bit of that energy, and Wes sees it and forces Joppy to tackle down. And you can see Joppy wants this Latios in here as soon as possible as Beware enters, but look at what these Shadow Claws are doing to Latios.
Yeah, you think that these not same type attack bonus Shadow Claws aren't as threatening for Latios, but it's actually a terrible matchup for it. Now that you take the last shield, you can bring in the Hypno here. Hypno is super bulky, and it can hang on with Latios here. Look, even the Confusion Chunk, honestly. You have the
And-
Ice Punch here. It's charge attack priority, so that means that Wes likely, just going to shield this up,
Yeah.
making sure this Latios is knocked out.
Yeah, and with that Ice Punch on offer for this Hypno, this Latios not going to be able to withstand the frigid temperatures. A super effective Ice Punch will send it packing, and now these two normal types, that's a tall order. It's not like that earlier game. This Hypno is ready for those livestock to bounce
Oof.
off.
Yeah, it doesn't get there.
His bulk, and that's going to do it. Wes picks up a vital point there for the Netherlands, getting on board a 2-1 for Joppy. But again, very, very nice grit shown there by Wes to make sure that wasn't an early sweep for the Italians.
Yeah, Salvage one important point there. And I think the one game that Joppy lost is the one game where he did not bring the Whimsicott. Maybe he's thinking, man, if I brought the Whimsicott, maybe I would have just went 3-0 here, because it was so difficult to deal with for Wes. The Beware even doesn't have that great matchup there because it's not as bulky, right?
Might have thought the Whimsicott kept the Beware at bay, but Wes just like, I need to pull a point here. I need to risk it. If I lead it into Whimsicott, so be it. But he got the double. I think Joppy led that double all 3 times, and Wes able to take advantage of it and get that point on the board. And Wes is not done, everybody. He's in this next matchup as well against Joppy's partner, Bommaruni. And having gone against this pair in the group stage, they are on point with their matchups. I was not able to pull a positive result. Only positive result I didn't pull, I think. So, a very strong pair in number 2 for Italy, and we can take a look here again. A very conventional Sovereign Cup team we're seeing for Bomber. That Alolan Raticate, as you mentioned, is a problem for Hypno. I'm more worried about that Victini that Bomber has shown, because Victini ended up being one of the major non-normal Pokemon in this meta, with that V-Create just offering a lot of neutral damage across the board. You look at Wes's team, only the Latios is really able to put up a fight and fully resist those V-Creates, and Victini just spams them off so quickly with that quick attack moveset.
Yeah, it's like a strategy we've seen before with the Beware from Wes in the previous game. Just like with the Beware, right? You can throw a quick charge attack that can hit very hard on those normal types and just dip out. That's what many players have been doing in this meta, and you can do that with Victini as well. Go for a V-Create, go into your Oinkologne or double, and then get energy back on later to hit more of those charge attacks. And as opponent, you're probably always thinking, oh, this hits the hardest in this meta because everything else is like a body slam. But opponents are very inclined to shield right away there, and that makes Victini a very powerful pick.
Exactly. It's just great at getting whatever advantage you want in this meta, be it a health advantage, a shield advantage, or even stashing that energy for later just to kind of use Victini as that closer. We'll see how Bomber decides to use that against Wes here as we start this second matchup in this Sovereign Cup final between Italy and the Netherlands. We'll have the battles up.
Yeah.
We'll have the battles up very shortly. We're riding along with Wes. Bomber keeping things hidden, but again, we see that double lead Martine, this time finding Shadow Celio.
Yeah, he has water pulse here on the Celio. We've seen the Celio before. Actually surprised to see it, considering how good the Razor Leaf Whimsicott was earlier from Joppy against Wes, but he doesn't fear it, and maybe even expects his opponent to not expect the Celio. Going for the Body Slam, then going into the Oinkologne to just take this energy here, and I like that play, because you don't want to use shields on the Wild Charge and preserve your Celio in another way.
No, and the pacing there works a lot better as well. You know you're getting that Body Slam off with Celio before the double can threaten a Body Slam or even a Wild Charge. So I agree. You get that chip damage. You make that double a little less threatening in the end game. And now Oinkologne has a Alolan Raticate, and this has been the tank of Sovereign here. If you don't have a Pokemon that can absorb these crunches, this Alolan Raticate becomes a problem very quickly with this dark damage output here. No debuff on the crunch, but this Oinkologne has to fire remove and does fire the dig here.
Yeah, it's not as efficient, but it hits a little bit harder. I don't think this knocks out Alolan Eradicate yet, but it will do a solid chunk of damage. Looks like Bombaroon doesn't want to take that chance, just going for the far down, and his energy from Alolan Eradicate is so good. It's also purified, so it may run return, which hits super hard. You don't want that to land on your Pokemon.
You don't want anything. I've seen a Hyper Beam Alolan Eradicate do some damage in this meta, and we'll see. Wes is going to shield the first move here from this Raticate, not wanting to take it. It's just a crunch, though. So Wes does give up that shield on the bait. The double's back in, but this is a great fire here, getting this body slam off before this double again can threaten that body slam on this Celio. It goes unshielded, but is still standing and still kicking as we go into another mirror.
Yeah, double, a little bit annoying for Wes. It just keeps hanging on. Gets to a body slam here. Wild Charge may have done a little bit more, but maybe Bombaroon didn't have that energy here. I think Bombaroon keeping the energy just in case there is that Latios in the back. I am fully expecting the Whimsicott here, but let's find out what Bombaroon will have in the back here. He can also play it extremely safe with all the normal types because he does have 3 on his line. Looks like the Eradicate comes in here to dump some energy first.
Yeah, and it looks like Wes just wants to, again, make sure this double can't really build up too much without using the energy here to get rid of this Raticate. I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Whimsicott just to be able to chew through the rest of this team. There is a shield, and there is the Razor Leafer from the Italian side. Can't get to the body slam in time is Wes, and these Razor Leafs. This is deja vu for Wes as Grass type continues to chew through Celio, and that's going to be another point on the board here for Italy. So clearly this Razor Leaf Whimsicott is a problem here, and you know, in Gymbreakers you are aware of your opponent's movesets. So is this a canary in the coal mine situation here for the Dutch? Do they have to be aware that Razor Leaf is potentially a problem here?
Yeah, well, it seems to be a thing. You think that when Charm is not allowed, that there will be no degens, but looks like the Italians are quite the degens, bringing Razor Leaf Whimsicott. Who does that? It's a good strategy, I'll admit, and it has gotten 3 wins so far for Italy, right? So good strategy.
I mean, I ran Alolan Ninetales, so here we go, dub on dub action. These tackles going to be bouncing off the wool here, but again, it's a matter of courage. Who's going to reach for that wild charge first? We don't see a lot of payback double in this meta, but Wes is going to fire with this body slam here.
Yeah, just a very neutral matchup here. Might come down a little bit to either who gets the energy advantage on the back line or who takes switch advantage. Switch advantage is not super important, but I think you don't want your Beware on a potential Razor Leaf Whimsicott, right? There's no Celio this time, so I guess that's fine there. This is a charge security tie on the body slam, which double will hang on from Wes, and so will that from Bombaroon. This is just gonna play out very closely, and I think shields are just gonna be safe until the very last moment, which might be good if you have Razor Leaf Whimsicott again as Bombaroon.
Yeah, you don't really want to be shielding double. Double's not meant to get them, and I know this is Italy against the Netherlands, but we appear to have a Mexican standoff here in Adequance, as neither one of these sheep want to do anything to the other. Sheep solidarity on display. Where's the Welsh team? But,
I think at this point you don't want to get timed out, right?
is this worse than the Mandy mirror? I don't know. I've seen a lot in my time on Gymbreakers calls. I have not seen a standoff like this.
Looks like Wes is out of patience.
Gonna end it. Wes takes it out. There's the Alolan Raticate, and this might be fine for Wes. If do you put the Beware on this, knowing you're not going to get anything with the Shadow Claws? There it is. There's the Beware coming in on this Alolan Raticate, and I think Alolan Raticate may be one of the only things that can't take a 2-stage debuff superpower.
It actually can, just barely. A 2-stage debuff superpower will do only 88%. At catching on the Whimsicott. This is resistance. This is debuff. This is a great catch. You have so much energy on that Alolan Eradicate still. And now Wes still has to take care of this Whimsicott with a shield.
Well, not only that, but saving that shield as well for the end game might be crucial for Bomber, as this Oink alone for West going back to work. It has been, it's a pig, but it's been the workhorse of this Sovereign Cup meta. This body slam does go through, and you can see Bomber just not care, just wants as much Razor Leaf damage on this pig as possible. So this Raticate can pressure it with this crunch. That is a very healthy Raticate there, Martine.
Oh man, you need energy though on Alolan Raticate. I would expect Bombaroon to undercharge this, but he doesn't. Even the defense drop, this body slam isn't super crucial, but it does ensure that even a debuff superpower will knock out. This really comes down to the energy that this Alolan Raticate still has, because at this point you still need a Hyper Fang to knock out the Beware.
Yeah, and if this is running return, as we've seen these purified Alolan Raticates do, you don't have that quick normal option. Here comes the crunch. It is resisted by Beware, but there's the defense drop. That is exactly what Bomber needed. There's the second superpower. Can Wes get both these off before this Raticate potentially gets a crunch off? It's going to be a 2-stage crunch, Martine. That will be enough from this range.
Yeah, it's a charge stack priority. Looks like it might be possible that Bombaroon also has 2 crunch at this point. However, Beware does win it because it has a very high attack stat. And it looks like it was a double charge stack priority, a very close game that came down to the very last fast attack. But Beware going with a double super effective superpower here will knock out that Raticate. And that makes it 3-2 now. West taking another game here.
Yeah, very well done. Very well managed energy on both sides. That has been crucial here in Sovereign. It is an energy management meta, especially with such neutral play with these normal typings, and both battlers showing expert command there, but Wes with that double superpower able to take the point. Let's see if he can tie it up here in game number 3, Martine. Hypno finds Whimsicott on the lead, and that is a sigh of relief for Wes, as this Hypno is able to withstand the Razor Leaf barrage from this Whimsicott.
Look at that waiting, making sure that his Ice Punch is not coughed. I don't get this, AJ. You see Alolan Raticate twice, and your idea is to bring Hypno? This is an interesting strategy here from Wes, and a very risky one, but it does hang very well with the normal types and with his Whimsicott.
I think the big thing is leading the Hypno. We saw Raticate in the back both times from Bomber, so putting the Hypno up front means you are likely going to keep it away, and he lets it go here, content to take the shield advantage, and I love that, because you think that Raticate's going to be back there for Bomber, so what use is the Hypno? You got this Whimsicott in a much more manageable position, and now this double comes in to start building up energy.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a swap out from Bombaroon here to keep that Whimsicott. And it doesn't even get to a charge attack here. So at this point, West still has 2 shields. If you get this into superpower range, I think 3 superpower. That is, if it is Alolan Raticate in the back, it could be very well Beware's game here. Let's see what West is going to do here. He's just going to stay with this double, chip it a little bit more. I don't think you're going to get another shield here, though.
No, and we see both these body slams coming off. I'm wondering if Wes is going to go to this Beware early, just try and start building energy now that the shield advantage is here. Doesn't look like it. He seems content to let double go down, and will be putting all faith in the stuffed bear. Hugs for everyone from this Beware as it goes to work.
Oh,
and it's his own Beware in the pack. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
this is looking rough. These fast attacks are not adding up.
No. I mean, am I watching the double standoff again? This HP is not moving at all. There's the first shield on the stomp, but this seems academic at this point. But there's a big cap tie for Bomber getting the second move off. And Wes is going to use the final shield on the superpower. And he already threw his own here, Martine. Does that open it up a little bit if there is energy on Bomber's sub wall?
I think there might be, and I think your final win condition here is getting the charge attack priority on the superpower here. Let's see if you can get it. Actually, just goes for the stomp. What am I saying? This is so low HP. At this point, you need a wild charge, but can you get there? He already has 2 stomp here, right? And he's going to win charge attack priority as well if he's there.
I think it was too late. The second Wes got that second move, this Beware was ready to just take control of this endgame, and superpower will do it. Wes picks up a 2-1 against Bombaroon and does tie up this matchup for the Netherlands 3-3 after 2 battles, and like you said, Martine, Bomber needed to get a charge attack priority win on that first move to have a shot, but Beware is just gonna win all of them if it's any later. So just it's very well managed by, and we've seen that come into play here in these latter stages of Sovereign Cup, having that trump card when it comes to a Captai, in a Beware, in a Galvantula, in a Victini, can often decide a lot of these matchups where there's so much neutral play and energy is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to point out that Hypno. Bringing the Hypno was crazy when Bombaroon brought the Alolan Eradicate twice, but then he realized, wait, that Beware is a little bit difficult for my Alolan Eradicate. I'm not going to bring it. And then Wes making the call that there would be no Alolan Eradicate, that it was able to just take care of the Whimsicott so well there. And then setting up the Beware as well, right? Taking the shield advantage against the Whimsicott, setting up the Beware in the back. It was very strong. And yeah, at this point, the score is tied up, so very curious to what we're going to see next.
It was a bold call, but you need to make bold calls in this final as we move to get a new Dutch battler. Wes is done. Those are Wes's 2 battles, so he gets to sit back and watch the rest of his teammates work here as Howie goes against Aspra Shelto, one of the legends of this Italian team. And again, we're seeing a more conservative team from the Italian side. Double Oinkologne, Alolan Eradicate, the 4 normals with Pyroar, matched with Galarian Slowbro and Clefable Galarian Slowbro emerging as another source of like nice neutral damage, and also fighting those fairies like Whimsicott hard. Howie, similar team, but instead of Clefable and Slowbro, going to reach for Dugong and Shadow Galvantula. We've seen a lot of Galvantula play, Martine. Haven't seen the Shadow variant as much. I'm curious as to if that gives it the extra boost it needs to deal with some of these bulky normal types.
No, he just doesn't like bulk, so that's why Shadow Gal. Yeah, so what stands out the most here for Howie's team, indeed, that 4 times normal, but also that he didn't want to pick up on the Hypno, which I think was a great call here, because Alolan Eradicate just cancels out Hypno. Clefable's a very interesting pick that I find here from Shelto. I'm not sure what it exactly picks up over other fairy types. I guess you have Meteor Mesh for other fairy types, but Howie does not bring those. So, and also, yeah, what looks really good is that Pyro from both sides. There's no hard answer on both sides.
Well, the other thing about that Galvantula, something we found as we went through Sovereign, 8-turn cross poison is annoying. Especially if you're running fairies like Aspra Shelto is. So that Galvantula can do a lot of work as long as it stays away from that Pyroar, as you mentioned. I think that's going to be a huge Pokemon for Howie here as we enter matchup number 3 between Italy and the Netherlands. Everything to play for in this Sovereign Cup final. We'll see where these 2 battlers go. I should not be surprised. It is sheep on sheep yet again.
Yeah, so this was an interesting battle interesting matchup for sure. The one thing that I think was pretty obvious on both teams, you want energy on the Pyroar. Pyroar with energy advantage or with shields up can be so demolishing on both sides here. Looks like Howie is going for the double body slam here, and I think Aspra Shelto was also trying to go for body slam. So that's just how it's gonna play out probably. Yeah, then I would say that both players want to get the energy advantage on the Pyroar.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key. Like you said, there are no hard checks for that Pyroar on either side. I mean, how he's getting snaps, so we'll see if that comes into play in this matchup as these body slams continue to fly. The Corpus Control taken by the double, and both switch out to the Pyroar, trying to get that energy lead, like you said, but just reading each other like books here. And Howie's Pyroar is going to get the charge attack priority here on this first flame charge.
Yeah, this is not going to be super crucial in the 2-shoot scenario, because at some point these Pokemon are so fragile, but Incinerate hits so hard that at some point you're probably just gonna tie out if you play the 2-shoots on both here. The problem is, if you let your power go at this point, you have to tackle down the other power, and it has double boosted Incinerate. So you kind of cannot do that. And obviously we see a shield there from Aspra Shelto. I also think we're going to see one from Howie.
Yeah, like you said, you do not want anything facing this Pyroar if it's going to take 20% of its health from one Incinerate. That is not in order. And we see both these Pyroar on Overheat as well. No Dark Pulse for coverage here. Is this just going to be Incinerate down? It absolutely is, as the mirroring continues between Aspercelto and Howie. And in that final matchup, Oinkalone against Dugong, this is going to be quite interesting. It's going to be a matter of when Aspercelto can get this Oinkalone out. And we see Trailblaze as well on this Oinkalone. No dig, so it can actually hit this Dugong for super effective damage.
Yeah, this is a very smart play from Aspercelto because he wants to get this damage in before he gets debuff. You need 2 charge attacks, maybe even 3 at some point anyway. So now you get debuff, and now you probably want to go for a Trailblaze at some point. You can even still clear the debuff. I think ideally, as Aspercelto, you want to get the catch and to clear your debuff. Let's see if we can pull it off.
I think that's what he's aiming for. He went over though, but Howie not willing to bite as El Briano is getting in on the commentary. The peanut gallery going off for Howie. It's not going to help him here. This Trailblaze doing so much damage. There's the attack boost. Going for the Drow run here. I don't know if Dugong has the attack to pull this off, Martine.
Yeah, Drone does a little bit more damage. Can you tackle down his Oinkoloid? And no, you cannot. Now it comes down to the little turns because it's boosted. And who goes down first here? Both attacks go through, and it's Oinkoloid who takes this game for Aspercelto.
Yeah, that one-turn tackle telling the tale as Oinkalone able to withstand the double and pick up the point here for Italy, making it 4-3. And that tells you all you need to know about Oinkalone in this meta. What a menace, what a tank it is, being able to take that Icy Wind and still be able to get the job done against Howie's remaining Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's take a look into game number 2 right away. If we're going to see similar lines here, we see the Alolan Renegade here from Aspercelto, also Purified and having Return. This is a very neutral matchup, and it actually really comes down to if you get a debuff right away, because then with the quick attacks adding up, the second crunch might knock out.
Yeah, and you see Aspercelto's going for that triple normal strategy, not content to let his Pyroar just be knocked out by the opposing Pyroar, wants all the bulk he can get to try and deal with Howie's Pyroar as these body slams continue to come in and deal neutral damage. The Corpus Control weathered very easily by the Alolan Raticate as these crunches search for that debuff, but I think Raticate might be able to handle this one.
Yeah, looks like Howie's content letting that go. I'm not sure if this Wild Charge will knock out. It does more than a Body Slam, but like you say, Alolan Renegade is the tank of this league. Actually putting up the shield, and I think this puts Howie's power in a very good spot now, because there's no power from Aspercelto as well.
No, and we see Howie going for his own Alolan Raticate. I like that move from the Dutch Battler, making sure that this crunch isn't going to be able to come through. And with the shield advantage, if Howie reads the return, he can put up the shield and make sure that energy doesn't connect. Nice move there by Howie just to mitigate the advantage Aspercelto got with that shield. And now this double has to try and avoid taking a crunch debuff as well. And it will.
Yeah. Double against Alolan Renegade. We've seen this before, I think, just a minute ago. We've seen how this goes, really. Again, a debuff on the defense can be crucial in this matchup for the Alolan Renegade. But I think at this point, Howie's just looking to sweep with the Power. Power is very fragile, though, so if this double gets to another attack later, we see another shield here from Aspercelto. That's interesting. And a debuff!
I think Aspercelto just wants as many hands on deck to deal with that potential Pyroar in the back, forcing this final shield. Doesn't get it out of Howie. Howie's banking on this Pyroar just being able to sweep, but that is a full health Oinkalone in the back. It's got to deal with, and it cannot get the body slam off with that double. So this pig's got to go full bore ahead with these tackles.
Yeah, Mother Nature. The sheep being eaten by the lion. Now in comes a pig. I think this is also lion's food. Going to 100 energy here. And now being a double flame charge. I think this will knock out the Oinkalone for sure, right?
I mean, it has to. I'm surprised Aspercelto wasn't firing there. He knows he needs 2 body slams to get through. That flame charge is weathered, but here comes the second one, and this Oink alone is gonna be turned into bacon by this Pyroar as it gets roasted, and this Alolan Raticate. It's a tank, but even it can't stand up to the fiery onslaught of Howie's Pyroar, tied again for 4. After a true display of what Pyroar can do when not opposing its counterpart.
Yeah, very strong performance there from Howie. Even when getting Snapchats from Kim and other players in Discord, it's crazy how he keeps his focus and manages to retaliate back, tying up the score to 4-4 at this point. We see here a Alolan Eradicate into double. Again, very debuff dependent. And again, no power here from Aspercelto. We only have his side from this for this battle. So Howie's team will be a surprise.
Well, if Kim's offering any more snaps of encouragement to Howie, we won't know, but we'll get to see this Alolan Raticate go to work on this double. Again, Aspercelto going back to that bulky normal strategy that didn't work as well in game 2, so we'll have to see maybe a little more judicial with his shields here as he's taking the Corpus Control on this Alolan Raticate and just trying to, you know, play this lead out as we've seen it played out before, Martijn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Another crunch coming through. I think Howie's just content keeping the shields. If it is another power in the back again, now going for the potential wild charge that may knock out this Alolan Raticate. Let's see if he does shield it or not. Aspercelto does not put up the shield this time. It does knock out. Immediate swap, and the immediate swap into the power as well.
Yeah, and this double is going to come in and now doesn't have to deal with these boosted Incinerates. And there's the shield. I think Aspercelto just wants this Pyroar out of here and is willing to commit all resources to getting the Lion to sleep tonight as these body slams come in to try and pull those shields away from Howie.
Yeah, you gotta shield. Oh, he doesn't shield us, actually. Can he get to another one here? Oh, and he does get to the flame charge. This is huge. If you want to keep this double, you gotta double shield here. And he does, actually.
Yeah, that's a huge get for Howie, taking that final shield away from Aspercelto. Now there are 2 shields and a full Alolan Raticate on the opposing side here. Aspercelto going to get this body slam off, trying to chip away, but this is a defensive stalwart that Howie has chosen to put his faith in here in this endgame. But there's another body slam from this double. It is unloading as much energy as it can into the bulky rat.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough for Aspercelto to come back here. But do keep in mind, he still has a catch in his own Alolan Raticate. Howie has so much energy at this point, but a crunch and a return would be enough to knock out the Oinkoloin here. Coming in, not catching the first attack. I would imagine you go for crunch here, or do you just want to drop the whole return here? Looks like it is the crunch. At this point, you kind of have to go for return here, right?
Yeah, the Scarnocchio does not get the defense debuff. There's the catch attempt, and it does not work as Howie's able to hold on to that energy. If this is a return, I don't know if it does enough here, Martijn, to oink alone. It's just another crunch. He's going for the double up on the crunches, and he has the double up on the crunches. He didn't need the return. He's just gonna bite down on this pig and pick up the point here for the Netherlands as Aspercelto going to that bulky triple normal line, and it backfired both times as Howie went all offense in game 2 and then all defense in game 3 to pick up those 2 victories and make it 5-4 for the Netherlands.
Yeah, exactly. After losing the first game by 1 HP, he was not having it, and he was like, okay, I'll make sure I'll keep more HP. So very smart from Howie there. Another thing that I want to point out here, we were giving him a hard time about Snapchat and messages coming in. It was actually Normalheim recording them, so just to save him a little bit there. Very well played by Howie against one of, I believe Aspercelto is number 1 on the leaderboard for Gymbreakers, so or number 1 or number 2. So yeah, very tough opponent there too.
You can see the ratings in the names here on the graphics. Aspercelto has that master ranking. He is one of the top battlers in Gymbreakers this season, and Howie able to put up that 2-1 against him. Big points for the Netherlands to get as we move on. And Martijn, I don't know about you, but I've been talking for like an hour. I think I need a break.
Let's do it. Let's give our co-casters some time as well.
Yeah, let's hop over to FishOnAHeater and see Leonardo for game number 4.
Thank you so much to AJ and Inadequates. That was such a hype start to the stream. See you, Leonardo. What have been your thoughts so far?
I guess score went on one side and then on another side. Every game was just decided by a matter of few HPs. But this is the advantage, but also the problem of this meta. Almost everything is so neutral that really one tackle difference just makes the whole difference in the world. And so definitely you really have to be super exact in your calculations. If you just miscalculate your damage range for your body slam against your opponent's double by 1 HP, you're gonna lose a lot of potential overfarm, and this is going to backfire at you. So yeah, definitely it requires a lot of precision. You have to be surgical in your plays.
And the fact that there are so many neutral picks in this meta means that there is a lot more opportunity to branch out into some different picks than you might see in some other metas. Like, for example, we've got some pretty different looking teams for both of these players than what we've seen in the first 3 battles. I see a Florges that we haven't seen yet. I see a Shadow Lapras. I see a Galarian Slowbro and a Clefable. I think all of those have been completely unique so far.
Yeah, definitely. But again, usually 2 or 3 normals is the main call for every team. Then 2 or 3 very, very polarizing picks. Try and play some mind games with your opponents, trying to drive your opponent potential lead, what he can lead with, what he can have in the back. If you don't have these polarizing picks, you have no clue about what your opponent is going to run. So you really have to have some in your team in order to make some informed decisions and in order to make some assumptions.
Alright, so Aspergelto is looking to get some revenge after going down 2-1 in that matchup. The score is 4-5 Netherlands way. Let's check out these battles between Aspergelto and Gideon.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see the Clefable here because Gideon doesn't really have any hard check for it. So no Pyro, no Shadow Galvantula with Cross Poison, no Galarian Slowbro. So I'm sure we will see Clefable all 3 games on Aspergelto's side.
Yeah, it's a very safe pick. The first blood is being drawn by the Oinkologne, though, who throws a body slam, sends the Clefable into the yellow. Now, Aspergelto building up a little bit more energy before throwing that first Meteor Mash. I'm keen to see how much damage this does. Meteor Mash is a very strong move, and Clefable is a strong Pokemon, very high defense with that. So both of those Pokemon have taken out about an equal amount of HP from each other with those moves. Now the second Meteor Mash is coming out from Clefable. It comes out so fast with that Fairy Wind.
Yeah, definitely. Double Meteor Mash is definitely the way to go in this matchup because one Moonblast will not KO, so you need to go with double Meteor Mash. Now, I don't know if Lapras is able to farm the Clefable down. Looks like it's not, so this is going to deal some very, very strong damage. So probably the game is already on Aspergelto's side. We have 2 cycle uses, but we have a Beware on Gideon's side. Maybe playing with the mind games of Stomp, Superpower. Things maybe are still not over.
Yeah, but here's the problem with Beware is that when you are facing against a team full of normals, you can only really throw the superpower once before it starts becoming more of a hindrance than a help, because that defense drops as well as your attack. So now the Shadow Claw Beware is going to come out. The Shadow Claw is obviously not doing much to the normal type. It is building up that energy, getting up to the double superpower before it throws the first one. It will shield this first body slam from the Oinkologne.
Yeah, at this point, Aspergelto's win condition is just not shield everything, because you need just to leave 2 shields to double. If Beware needs to debuff himself here, so be it. I think sadly what decided the game in Aspergelto's favor was the Gideon's Lapras fainting with 80 energy, and so not tanking the body slam was really unfortunate because he really would have loved to output at least double surf, if not the big nuke. And now this double superpower It's not going to be enough. Of course, we want to shield the first one, but even if it's bait, the second one will not one shot.
Yeah, so there's that beware paradox, is that you went straight for the superpower, but even though it did land, it kind of left Gideon with no place to go as the tackles from the double just ground it down.
Yeah, definitely. Cliffable gave Aspergilto one step forward to start the match with. Definitely winning the lead and being able to throw a meteor match as a parting gift was a nice advantage. Now bad lead for him. Let's see how it goes.
And Gideon going with the double normal backline, just like Aspergilto did in that first battle. Now Gideon is going straight for that superpower again. I have not seen Gideon throw a stomp yet in this match. Throwing that troppo forte and then staying in as well. So really putting all in on this matchup. Really wants to land some of that superpower damage onto that Oinkologne before swapping out. Or maybe even just letting the Beware go down. Let's see how they decide to play it.
Yeah, I don't know if this shield on Gideon's side was necessary, because you would have definitely survived the body slam despite you were debuffed. But still, you are a shield advantage now with double, who has a slightly better matchup against Oinkologne than vice versa. But yeah, Aspergilto has still a very, very healthy Alone Eradicate. The timer is also desynced, so you can just try and switch out again on Eradicate to soak some damage and to load up for Beware.
And Aspergilto's Oinkologne running that Trailblaze, which we haven't mentioned yet, over the Dig. So that's an interesting decision, but same energy as the Dig, but is obviously going to increase the damage of the subsequent tackles and body slams after that. Do you agree with that decision, or do you prefer Dig on this one?
Well, I usually have used Trailblaze on Oinkologne most of the time. Main reason is that, yeah, unless your opponent has a Pachirisu, usually you don't need Dig, because the risk of having the Dig shielded is not really appealing. So and Trailblaze, besides of course giving you a better matchup against waters.
Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt for a second. Sorry, C. Leonardo, because we've just had a hype moment where the Eradicate has thrown one before they get to the return, and the Beware does not shield. Gideon knew exactly what the counts were and knew that they didn't have to shield that, so just wears that crunch and then swaps into the Oinkologne, which can also take a crunch pretty darn handily.
Yeah, now this Oinkologne has a lot of energy, so I'm expecting Gideon trying to farm down, but he will have to take the second body slam. Yeah, unfortunate.
And so there's that second shield on Gideon's side. Can they tackle down before the next body slam comes out? Both of those pigs are on very low energy. Surely that Oinkologne on Gideon's side can get the job done, and it does. But now out comes the second tackler, and that is Dubwool. So both of these farmyard animals are going to be wiggling their butts at each other. Unfortunately, Gideon's Oinkologne, though, not doing it for very long, because it's going to throw those back-to-back body slams, and then it is going to go down.
Yeah, I think the key for this match was the syncing the timer so long, so that Eradicate could just swap back in and load up on energy, soaking the damage from Oinkologne, and being able to cripple the Beware further, and the third Pokemon as well.
And so, unfortunately, those triple resisted Shadow Claws are not going to be able to do much to that Eradicate. The Eradicate can just quick attack both of those remaining Pokemon down, and that is 1 point back on the board for Aspergilto. So that is now 6-5. Italy has regained the lead off of the Netherlands. They did come into this matchup as the heavy favorites. A lot of the community were tipping Italy over the Netherlands, but it is a close battle so far. I'm excited to see how close it is so far.
I'm surprised that Aspergilto didn't use Cliffable as in the team for Game 2 and Game 3 as well. I would have used it every time.
Okay, so this is now a Poison Jab Galarian Slowbro in the lead. I have to admit, I am not aware of how this matchup goes. There is not too many occasions that I've had to run a Galarian Slowbro into a double in the past. So we'll see how this happens, how it plays out. So we get to almost 2 Surfs on the Slowbro. The first one is going to go unshielded. Now, this is a little bit interesting. You won't be able to farm down with the Poison Jabs, a catch on the Oinkologne. So 2 relatively bulky normal types teaming up to wear a lot of that energy. And now let's see how Aspergilto responds. It is with his own Oinkologne.
Yeah, now with this self-damage on the Oinkologne, I think now the matchup is, of course, in Aspergilto's Oinkologne favor. He just needs to overfarm a little bit and throw a Body Slam before the next one. And he should be able to throw a final Body Slam as a parting gift to whatever comes next.
Yeah, energy is just makes such a difference in this meta. Now, oh, hang on, we do have an extra Body Slam. A sneaky Body Slam has snuck through, sneaking the Body Slam into this matchup to almost KO the opposing Oinkologne. Unfortunately, doesn't quite get the job done. Or maybe, fortunately, it might just get a little bit of extra energy on the next Pokemon that comes out. No, the double is going to come out and just instantly wear a Body Slam of its own. There are so many bodies slamming around all over the place. See Leonardo?
Yeah, definitely. But I think I'm wondering whether if Gideon came in with Latios and trying to snipe with a Dragon Breath the Oinkologne rather than using double, because one cycle wasn't enough. But yeah, now this double has 2 shields, but the Dragon Breaths are really melting it.
Yeah, that's the skill when you are running a Dragon Breath user, especially a glassy Dragon Breath user like the Shadow Latios, is keeping those shields for it in the back. Or, a lot of people run it in the lead as well. Just manages to get off the Body Slam, and surely on such a glassy Pokemon that will get the KO, and it does. So now that double is going to come out, finish the job on the other double, get vengeance for its friend, and now a second Body Slam is going to come out. Luckily for Aspergilto, though, I keep messing up that name, 2 shields on his side.
Yeah, a flex demonstration of Aspergilto, but being able to fire off the last Body Slam was really crucial for this game. Super close.
Yeah, those getting to those Body Slams made so much difference in every battle to multiple different Pokemon. There were so many 1 HP throws of the Body Slam.
Yeah, definitely, and we've seen this meta over the months, over the weeks, so many cases where actually getting or not getting the mechanic on the tackle in the mirrors were actually pretty decisive. So yeah, not really proud of how the meta developed at the end. But yeah, it is what it is. Probably playing this meta for 3 full months is also quite boring, I guess, for every meta you play. So maybe that's it.
Well, boring or not, it has allowed Aspergilto to gain a couple of points on the Netherlands, so it is now 7-5 with the next matchup coming up, and it is a hype one. It is Dusan Ristic versus Tho Technical. Okay,
yeah, so on the Dusan Ristic side, we see again a Whimsicott, which looks very dangerous. We will see whether it will have Razor Leaf or Fairy Wind. Of course, Charm is banned. But yeah, definitely Whimsicott, and I don't know, Eradicate. He just has to avoid the Beware, but otherwise a pretty nice matchup across the board. Double tackle user. I think there is pretty much a good play for every player here. Looking at the matchup.
Dusan also running the Whimsicott, which just makes that the Latios just so much harder to bring. Just that in itself, it will have a good time. If Tho Technical can match it up against, say, the Pyroar, then it will have a much better time there, but you get it matched up wrong, and it's just, it's struggle town.
Yeah, I can say Celio being really interesting because he's able to outspam the tackle users. So this is the importance of using other picks different from tackle users in your team, because being able to throw a body slam not in 12 turns but in 10 or 8 turns for the second one is usually a very added value to your team. And I can see Beware is going to be very strong on the tactical side, because you can almost one shot 3 or 4 Pokemon, or maybe 5 Pokemon as well. So yeah, it's going to be a huge threat.
One more thing, I did mention the Dunsparce earlier in the stream, how it is pretty good against a lot of the non-normal Pokemon in this meta. I don't know if Dunsparce has a lot of play into Tactical's team though. What do you think?
Well, yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because of course you deal super effective damage on Celio, but you are not that strong against tackle users. You get output and out-damaged. And of course, you deal 0 damage with your fast moves against Beware, which is able to comfortably tank 1 or 2 moves. And Hypno also has a slightly better matchup against you. So not really his game this time.
Alright, let's check out how the battles go. This is Dusan Ristic versus Stowe Tactical, score 7-5. We see Whimsicott in the lead versus the Onkologne. Now, all the Whimsicott we've seen so far have been Razor Leaf. Is this going to be the same? No, it is the Fairy Wind. So it is Fairy Winder versus Tackler. They're going to get to that first move at the same time, but it is the Whimsicott that throws first. Stowe Tactical building up a little bit more energy on that Onkologne before throwing his.
Yeah, of course, he really didn't want to reach the CMP tie here, because if Whimsicott didn't throw, he would have just snagged a full Fairy Wind. Now Dusan swaps out into double. Let's see what Thomas does here.
And an attempted catch on Tho's side, but it does not pay off. So now the double, I mean, the double is going to throw the body slams anyway, which is one of those oddities that can happen sometimes, where it's like, well, you didn't catch the move, but they're gonna just throw the same move that they were gonna throw anyway. So, oh, hello. We have Third Tactical reaching for that Wild Charge. The Body Slam wouldn't quite be enough from that range, but a Wild Charge certainly would. Dusan Ristic throwing an extra Body Slam first, which will take out just over half of the remaining HP on that double on the other side.
Yeah, I think at this point, Dusan can just afford to let the double go and try to calm down.
And this is interesting because the other thing with Wild Charge is that you don't allow your opponent to get quite as much farm. So the Eradicate is able to farm down with quick attacks, but not quite as much as if they had thrown a Body Slam. Now this Beware is going to come out, and this is the matchup that Beware likes to see more than anything else. You can throw 6 superpowers and you still will have enough attack power left over to KO this thing once you hit it with another one. So we see a shielded Crunch, and then the Whimsicott coming out, and a Moonblast is absolutely going to KO this thing. I mean, you might not even need a Moonblast depending on how much HP the Beware on the other side has left. You might even need just a Fairy Wind, a few Fairy Winds and a Grass Knot. Oh, and an attempted catch on the Third Tactical side again. So none of those catches paying off, but now this Whimsicott is going to be facing a Body Slam, and we do see a last-second shield on Dusan's side.
Yeah, so now this is tricky for Dusan, because actually shielding the Whimsicott here, he's allowing the Beware to get some more extra farm if now the Onkologne is KO'd, which looks like it is. So I think now this is going to be probably a lose condition for him.
Yeah, the Grass Knot is going to be shielded by Third Tactical, and it will allow him to just Shadow Claw that thing down to the ground. Coming out with 2 superpowers and with 1 shield left on the opponent's side, we are going to see this superpower in action. Hey, Leo, do you want to see Eradicate disappear?
Well, not now, but now yes.
Yeah, so unfortunately that does spell a defeat for the Italians for that one. Third Tactical bringing the score back to 7-6, and the arm wrestle continues.
Yeah, Third Tactical here played very, very well. Just played its only win condition, which was just allowing the Beware to get some extra farm, and it went well for him. So now we are 7-6. Match is still very close. 1 point on one side, 1 point on the other side. So let's see how the game 2 goes.
We see a double into the Shadow Celio. So this double is running Wild Charge, which will be able to completely one-shot the Celio. If it goes shielded though, then that will present problems for Dusan and the double. So we see no shield first up on Dusan's side, just letting that first body slam through, and it does so little damage that it could have tanked another one just fine. Though is not going to take that route though. He is going to switch out into his Piggy and take it from there.
Yeah. Now some extra damage on the Onclone, and then yeah, we are sending Eradicate. Eradicate is a very comfortable matchup against the tackle users. So after this body slam, of course, Onclone is for sure into crunch range. So let's see how it goes from here. But we want to overpower by a little bit more because second body slam is coming.
Yeah, that's the thing though. How much do you want to build up? Because you don't want to then let off a third body slam. So now Dusan's pulling the ripcord, throwing that crunch, which will get the KO on the Oink alone. You would think, right? It is on pretty low HP. It does get the job done, and now the Celio is going to come back out.
Yeah, but now Celio is going to probably just to shield once, or maybe even not shielding, and he's going to have a very nice farm. Hopefully he's going to make it. Looks like just barely. Oh, okay.
Wow.
So he has to throw actually.
Yeah, so that looked like charge attack priority to me, the Celio, taking it out over the Eradicate. Both fairly low attack, but obviously oh wow, there's that catch. Finally, So Technical getting a catch. He's been trying many times over the last two battles, finally gets one, and that Celio is going to bank that extra body slam. So now it is double versus the Whimsicott. You kind of have to land a Moonblast here. I don't think Grass Knot is enough from this range.
No, and if the technical doesn't shield, okay, that is fine. If the technical doesn't shield, things are going to be very, very good for him. But yeah, probably just safest play just to double shield double here, because you're just getting no damage from the fast moves from Whimsicott. So yeah, just best play, just keeping tapping, just keeping tackling the Whimsicott down, taking it low. You still have one body slam ready on Celio.
Oh, wow. So getting the Grass Knot shielded once again, and now Dusan's going to start investing in this Whimsicott. An undercharge from Though Technical, unfortunately, will not matter because it is shielded. It is just going to do 1 damage no matter how much you charge it. Now the Celio is going to come back out. It gets to that body slam just before the Grass Knot can come out, and now surely we're not going to see the second shield. Right, we do see it, so Dusan is now investing in that Whimsicott. Is going to bank that Grass Knot, and is now switching into the double, which is going to tank that next body slam. How much damage is this going to do to the double?
Almost enough, but will this double be able to farm the Celio down? Oh, looks like it's not. Super close.
Unfortunately for Dusan, has to try and get that Fairy Wind farm down so it can bank that and move on to the last Pokemon. Unable to do it, so Though Technical takes another battle, and now the scores are tied back up once again.
These two players have been just dancing around with the Pokemon all the time for these two games. Very, very smart decisions, very smart plays. And let's see if Dusan is able to at least take 1 point home from this round.
Oh, that's not going to help though. It is the Dragon type
Yeah,
into the Fire
that's
type, and so now we get the Dark type into the Psychic type. Normally a pretty good matchup, but that Psychic type is just throwing the Dragon Breaths and Dragon Claws, and you know, if you invest shields into that thing, then it doesn't matter what typing that Eradicate has. It is not going to like it. Now we get a counter swap. The Eradicate has lost a bit of its HP because of all the Dragon Breaths, so that Oinkologne is going to have an easier time against it in what is normally a pretty good matchup for the Eradicate.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense on Dusan's side to shield the Dragon Claw because it's going to deal more damage than Body Slam for the normal types. But yeah, once you are down a shield and you are not able to flip it, and you have such a bad lead, this is super uphill for him now.
Yeah, absolutely. Dusan is having to play catch up now. Is going to throw one more crunch, but really all that's going to do is give more farm opportunity to them. So, okay, does get off another crunch, just manages to get there, and now Though is investing that shield, so maybe wants to maybe is valuing alignment most in this battle. You kind of have to make those decisions in the midpoint of the game, like what is most valuable to me here? Is it Pokemon alignment? Is it energy management? Is it my shields? And it looks like alignment is the decision that Tho's made.
Yeah. Now this one extra Incinerate might help, at least to get one shield before swapping out.
And Dasan running the double fire moveset, so Flame Charge and Overheat, throws the Flame Charge to just try and get a little more, I was going to say get a little more Incinerate damage, but is just going to take that shield and then bring out the double, which can shield this Dragon Claw and then tackle down if Tho doesn't switch out. I believe that switch clock is up though. Is he going to switch out? He is going to, so that now it is double on double action, a matchup we have seen quite a few times already.
Yeah, well, the fact is that Dusan has always just tried to run after Tactical, but Tactical was always in control of this game because of a very favorable alignment, and also he's playing his own advantages very well. He's maintaining control. Now this Wild Charge is probably KOing from this range, if not just 1 HP.
Ooh. Oh, so 1 HP survives with that 1 HP, and the tackle damage doesn't go through. That is big. So that is a damage registration thing. It is hard to predict. It is it's not consistent, and it has reared its ugly head here. So now the Latios is going to come out and get that Dragon Claw out just before the damage from Incinerate can register. That was actually very close in the end, but the Latios just manages to get the job done.
Yeah, there was actually a closer game that someone might have expected. Also, the final undercharge on the double in order to get 1 extra Incinerate for the end game was good. But unfortunately, Latios had just too much energy, and it was 2 or 3 away from the next Dragon Claw. So it didn't have, unfortunately, it didn't make it. But still very close despite all.
Yeah, and oh man, this is so exciting. Like I know I keep referencing the scores. We are at 7 and 8. It is, if you haven't seen one of these Gymbreakers streams before, there are 48 total battles, so it is basically first to 25 wins, barring any sort of penalty points or disputes that might happen. So this is, I mean, strap yourselves in because we've got a lot of top-notch battles to come. Next up, we have Leo, an up-and-comer to the scene. Someone who I think is going places. It is Inadequance against the Italian battler Virgi Paravirgi.
Yeah, exactly. Good pronunciation. Yeah, so Mountain team is pretty similar to what we have seen so far around. Of course, just 2 normal type, 1 water type. You can have a Galvantula, you should have a fire type usually, and then the 6th slot is usually just whatever you want, because you are able to cover the whole meta with 4 or 5 picks most of the time. So your slot number 6 is usually flex or extra bench pressure. So Hypno looks like actually very interesting choice. I really didn't ever consider it because I was too afraid of bumping into Allure and Eradicate. But it has definitely some play because it is bulky. You can change the moveset, you can change the punches, so you can just change the coverage however you want. The Side Shock is a start move, and many players actually do have a Hypno with Side Shock. So yeah, let's see how it goes. While on Virgit's side, we can definitely see a very good Allure Eradicate. You just had to avoid the Galvantula. We don't know yet whether Martine has the Fury Cutter or the Volt Switch, but of course the Fury Cutter Galvantula is going to be way more threatening to the Allure Eradicate than the Volt Switch version. And then we have a very good Pyroar on the Italy side. Let's see if Martine has the Water Cannon Lapras to try and tackle this.
How much play do you think the Victini will have? Because it's interesting that Inadequance has brought Double Psychic into a meta that is very high on Alolan Eradicate usage, but that Victini is really, really good at, I guess, nuking and dipping, so you can build up a lot of energy if you can get it into a matchup that it is relatively safe. It can build up a lot of energy, throw a move that kind of has to draw the shield, and then dip out and save some of that energy for later. Kind of the same way the Skarmory plays as well. So do you see that happening in this matchup, or do you think it's kind of too risky bringing it into a game that's got an all-on Eradicate and a slow bro on it?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Inadequance use Victini, because you probably, I mean, either Victini or Galvantula, you need either of them just to be able to do something against Whimsicott. We don't know yet whether Whimsicott has Razor Leaf, because VG hasn't played yet. So either one, at least for the first game, I'm kind of expecting it. Victini. So the problem with Victini, I always struggle against Victini teams during my Devon Cups over the month, because it is able to deal a lot of damage. Even against Pyroar, it just deals a ton of damage, even if it's resisted. But on the other side, you deal little to no damage with the fast moves. So if you're not calibrate perfectly the range of your opponent's health, you're not able to one-shot from that particular range with Teeny your opponent. And so your opponent being able to survive to the big create with 5 HPs is probably very, very painful. So yeah, it needs to be played carefully, but of course, if it's in good hands, and I think Inadequance has good hands, of course Victini is able to shine and to do a lot of good things.
Which is a really good, solid answer, which is like what we expect that from you every time. So, like, really knowledgeable answer. However, I've just been informed it's completely null and void because I got the graphic wrong. Apparently, it's Inadequance isn't running Victini. He says that he is running an Alolan Raticate in that spot instead, which makes a lot more sense.
But never mind.
I would have been keen to see that.
That's fine, but all this thing we have said about Victini still apply to whoever is running Victini in these games.
All right, so let's check out how this matchup goes. Virgi versus Inadequance, 7-8. Oh, that's a good start for the Italians. The Pyro into the Galvantula, and Galvantula is getting straight out of there.
Yeah, now 2 Incinerates and then swapping out in order not to make 3, because otherwise you're risking to take a Body Slam. So having 2 Incinerate lead and preserving the health of your Pyro is already 50% of your win condition in this meta.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how the game goes from here.
Which is the same with pretty much any Incinerate user. You give it an energy lead and it can do some work in the end game. So Double is going to try its best to take out this Oinkologne. It does have almost 2 Body Slams built up. Is it going to go for the Body Slam or the Wild Charge? Going for the Wild Charge, just getting straight to it. I think Body Slam might have been enough in this situation. Either way, Inadequance's no shielding is going to just let the Oinkologne go down. Galvantula might come out, or we might see a little bit of energy on the... Oh, that is Fury Cutter Galvantula as well.
And actually, Wild Charge made sense because there was one more Body Slam ready to go on Virgis. So nice recognition. Now these 3 Fury Cutters are not enough because okay, so this is very hardcore. So this is bad.
Yep, so the Italians are on top so far in this matchup. So Inadequance is throwing the return, and it... Oh, sorry, Hyperfang. Sorry, and it goes unshielded. So now the Whimsicott is... I mean, this Whimsicott's still got 2 shields to play with as well. It's going to go straight for that Moonblast, not going to mess around with any grass, not shenanigans.
Yeah. Now I think just the win condition for Inadequance is just hoping that Virgie just throwing grass now. And trying to pick attack down, but yeah, this doesn't happen. It was a Moonblast, so I think the game now is pretty much over at this point.
Yeah, the Pyro should just be able to incinerate down from here. Unfortunately, even with those cross poisons loaded up, almost 3. Inadequate's not bothering to throw any moves. Knows that this stream goes for a long time, so it was thinking of us in that battle. Leo knew that he didn't want us to be trying to make something last longer than it was otherwise going to, just letting that one go. And that is a point for the Italians to tie it back up again.
Yeah, let's see how Inadequance now will react to the Pyro dominance.
Yeah, that the strategy didn't work the first time, is switching it up. It is the double normals facing in against each other. Both of them obviously will get to that first move at the same time, but neither of them throwing straight away.
Yeah, just building up to double body slam is usually the way to go. Similarly to Liquid Mirror, where you want to load up before throwing any move. Oh, that's a nice catch. Yeah, Virgil here was just taken by surprise. I think now we will just see a Whimsicott. Yeah.
Whimsicott comes out, and Inadequance has done something pretty cool in drawing out the Whimsicott and kind of freeing up the Beware in the back, so it doesn't have that fairy to fear anymore. AB being against it there, so lands another Hyper Fang. The Whimsicott will take it in its stride, is building up to just under 100 energy before throwing that Moonblast, which will KO the Raticate if landed.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, the matchup between Raticate and Whimsicott is less bad than you might think, because one Hyper Fang, of course, is faster than one return. Plus the quick attacks, you basically just take Whimsicott down to the red health. Now this Beware can just shoot once and made a huge cover blow down. And this is going to be a problem for Virgil's team, because because nothing really wants to see a superpower.
Yeah, double normal in the back. This is the problem when you've got so many normals on a team, is that you might find yourself in a situation like this where you just have to kind of shoot everything. You can't let any move go. So Inadequance is now throwing a Stomp instead of the superpower first up, because he doesn't want to get that attack debuff just yet. Now it is all up to Pyroar, and this is really interesting because Inadequance hasn't debuffed his Beware yet with a superpower. We do get the shield on the Stomp as well, so that would have been really handy for Virgi if he had let that one go, but that is a very bold thing to request, is to let a move go on a Beware. Look at that, it happens again. So Inadequance double baiting with the baiting kind of with the Stomp, but now looks like it is not going to make a difference in the end, because that last move will KO that Beware, and it's not going to get that finishing blow.
Yeah, and yeah, now we're gonna see Dig deleting this Pyro. So this is one advantage of having Dig over Trailblaze. Of course, you need to decide beforehand, but yeah, both moves are fine in this meta, and down goes the Pyro. So I think actually baiting with Stomp was the key, because of course you are exerting a huge shield pressure on Pyro, but being able to throw in Stomp and not superpower means that the Pyro will not be able to incinerate you down, and it will have to throw something at you. And so this is the importance of this play. Well played to Inadequance.
And Inadequance gets that lead that he wants in battle number 3. The Pyro comes out on Virgi's side, gets off... Inadequance lets it get up a whole bunch of energy before throwing a move, and it is going to be Stomp again. Is Virgi going to shield it? Yes, going for it at the last second. A very tough decision.
At the very last second.
Yeah, makes the right decision, though.
Yeah. I don't know if Virgi could have done something different here, just throwing the flame charge when he had it, rather than waiting for Inadequance to spend some energy, just to put some shield pressure before you are forced to burn any.
So we see a shield coming out on Inadequance's side. This is what Incinerate users do best, is they just build up momentum. Those Incinerates have been boosted a couple of times now, and the damage is just phenomenal. Unfortunately, it's not going to be able to do much more with them. Maybe get off one more. No, doesn't even get that. The tackles from Oink alone will finish it off. Now this leads to a pretty nice situation for Virgi, who can build up a fair amount of energy on the Raticate. It doesn't really care about the charge move, whether it's Body Slam, whether it's Trailblaze, whether it's Dig, whether it's Hyper Beam. It's just going to take it in its stride. And now the Beware is going to come back out. The stomp coming out again, so still no superpower on Inadequate's side, and you see Virgie tapping on that shield. Will Inadequate ever throw a superpower?
Yeah, Inadequate has been toying with Virgie Paravigi for all 3 games with his stomps, mind games, and okay, but still here Double gets a couple of tackle of jump starts, but we see the Lapras with 1 more shield. So yeah, game is definitely not over yet.
And what's that moveset that it's running? Looks like that is Surf
Ice
and
Beam.
Ice Beam. That's it. That's an interesting... you rarely see Ice Beam on Lapras. So interested to see how that plays out for him. So we see Virgie is going for the body slam first, and Inadequate's calling it. This is what Virgie wished he had done. The entire rest of the match is no-shielded those bait moves, and now this just closes any opportunity that Virgie had to tip this back into his favor.
Yeah, now it's going to be very close. I don't think Double is going to be able to reach 1 more body slam, so but the timer is still not up, so let's see. Yeah. In fact, now this Lapras just takes the Double out of his sight just to avoid potential body slam. Now it's coming to a potential catch.
And now this is going to be interesting. Oh, there it is!
Oh, nicely done.
Oh, beautiful work. That was the win condition, and Inadequate's pulled it off. And it's like Virgie had to throw there as well. Probably knew that catch was coming, but couldn't do anything about it because the move was going to come off anyway. So now this Ice Beam is going to finish off the job, coming in from a Shadow Lapras. Well done, Inadequates.
We have just seen the importance of having Ice Beam over Skull Bash. Sometimes when you need to deal more damage than Surf, but you don't want to wait until 8 Ice Shards to do that. So you just want to farm up to 6 Ice Shards, and you still do a very, very nice amount of damage. So Ice Beam is probably the way to go, especially if the opponent doesn't have any Water Ice on his side.
And it's also one of those moves that you see it a lot with a lot of different meta Pokemon, where it is not as energy efficient as Surf, but it does do more damage if you're just going to get 1 move off. So came into play there. So that is us done for 3 sets. We're going to take a bit of a rest. We are going to bring back the people that the crowd wants to see, and that is Inadequates and Final Boss AJ. They're going to bring us into this next battle.
I'm sorry.
Whoops.
I'm still recovering. Hey,
there we go.
Not ready yet.
Yeah, sorry. Continue.
I'm still recovering from that last battle. I know chat couldn't see me, but I literally pogged when I saw that catch in game 3 out of Martin. Holy, that you did Lapras proud, and that makes me very happy.
I'm a Lapras enjoyer, yeah. Just hold this thought, okay? That was super good. Just let's watch the first one. Let's watch the next one first. Yeah.
All right. Well, you're still gonna be in action here. I think as we come into the next one against Dusan Ristich. Already seen both of you so far. What else can you do after that sweep of Virgie, like putting the Dutch up 10-8, first 2-point lead I think we've seen since Italy was up 2-0 in that first matchup against Wes. And I'm sorry, that is a morale sink, just losing that last one the way I'm still gonna talk about it. I'm sorry, I'm still in shock.
Yeah, I think the most fun I had was that all my stomps were shielded. That was the most. You know, I say on my stream, always bait, and then my bait's still working. That's special to me. It's special. It also means that someone clearly doesn't watch, but that's okay, I guess. Let's look at these teams here. Obviously, it's Alone and Eradicate instead of Victini that I have here, but I believe this is about the same team my previous opponent had as well. It's that Whimsicott Power Core, and I must say, at this point, I really regret not running two tacklers, because it's a safe approach, and because I last second changed to Hypno for the team spirit, I don't really fare well against that Pyro. That's exactly here what I expect from Dusan. I know he's very good as well, so it's gonna be tough to pull it off for me. And Dusan definitely wants to get those points back, right?
I was gonna say, I think yours is the first team I've seen without double, which is a bold strategy in this meta where we've seen the normal tacklers just have so much play. I was kind of disappointed by Dunsparce's performance. Like you said, it's not really good into the normals, but because you're running Alolan Raticate and Beware instead of Double, maybe it has a little more action than I thought. It likes Lapras and Galvantula, I know that. Let's just get into these matchups though, Martine. We saw a little bit of a preview in game one. I think we have some more shake and bacon to lead things off. And we do, as Oinkologne takes on Double, a match as old as time in Sovereign Cup here as these tackles start going to work on this livestock.
Yeah, Double into Oinkologne. This is kind of the lead that I didn't want to see. I was hoping for a Pyro lead here to get shields earlier, hopefully. But it also makes sense that Dusan plays it in the back here. So Double takes this in the 0 shields. And like pretty big as well. So yeah, kind of tough for the Oinkologne, but that's life, I guess. The sheep's just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that is the big advantage that Double did have on Oinkologne, is just being able to eke out that matchup in the zeros. And you don't really want to shield your normal types in Sovereign. You do want to save those shields for the Glacier Spice picks, your Pyroar, your Galvantula. And we're going to see Oinkologne do its best here, and Martine actually does swap out into that Ice Shard Lapras, but unfortunately revealing Ice Shard means Pyroar can come in here and start going to work with these Incinerates, and Lapras has to start shielding fire moves early.
Yeah, Shadow Lapras is going to get to 3 Surf Surge because Ice Shards are resistant and don't add up as much. The Incinerates will chunk so much compared to the Ice Charge, right? So yeah, going for the first survey, going for optimal timing to get the damage off. And let's see what my opponent's going to do. Going for that immediately, so I am able to sneak another one in here, and I will be able to get to 2 surf. But shields down is rough. Looking at these back lines.
Yeah, and you have that Beware in the back, and with Shadow Claw on that Beware, it's not going to put any fast move pressure on this Pyroar either. As the Surf gets shielded, this Pyroar trying to find one more, but it can't get there. Lapras does get the job done before going down. By the way, Shiny Shadow Lapras, what a flex that is.
Yeah.
Lapras does get some Ice Shards here on Whimsicott, but Whimsicott has to be feeling very comfortable. Shields down on this Beware coming in. I think the only shot you have here is trying to catch the Forza Lunale. The Moonblast is gonna come in here. And I think this KO's 9 Bewares. Is my math right?
It will definitely take it out. Yeah, even with a catch, Dusan will be able to get to 2 another Moonblast there. So I realized that was kind of over at that point. Power and Whimsicott core is just very good against me. And even though expecting the same Pokemon that my previous opponents use, all I have to hope is to, get a little bit my way, which is difficult in this meta often, right? Especially when he keeps all the shields for the Power. Power just has so much pressure with fast attacks and with charge attacks, and that makes it just incredibly difficult to overcome.
Well, let's see. It's on the lead here in game number 2 against this Alolan Raticate. A bit more favorable matchup with you being able to outpace this first crunch. You can see Dusan reaching for that overheat, not going to get there before this Alolan Raticate is able to pressure that first shield and get it with a crunch.
Yeah, it's very fragile, and it's what Dusan keeps the shields for. I even get the debuff going for the overheat here. What do I do? What do I do here? AJ! Oh, I shielded!
You have to. You have to. In the lead, it's got that overheat potential. You have to respect the attack of that Pyroar. Only male Pyroar we've seen, by the way, from Dusan Ristich. And now a bit more comfortable, slower pace matchup with Alolan Raticate against this Double.
Yeah, this Body Slam isn't going to knock out yet. Alolan Raticate holds on here. all I need to do here is to not give that power a lot more energy. Double still hangs on after this crunch, so no shield there yet from Dusan. You can still hold on for that for the power.
But going for this hyper thing, the Ibazana does not do enough to this double, able to get this body slam off and clear the Alolan Raticate. But looking at your backline here, I wondered if Hypno was going to come in to try and deal with that Pyroar Whimsicott core, and it looks like it's going to get the task here, getting that confusion down on the double, and you've seen Overheat now, so you know there's no Dark Pulse.
Yeah, and Overheat definitely has to be shielded. Going for a side shock here that would KO the power, but looks like Dusan is again putting up the last shield there, and that leaves the Whimsicott a little bit prone in the back, but Whimsicott with shields down does a little bit better against that Lapras as well. Now almost at 2 attacks, going for another Overheat here, but I'm gonna let it go. Good.
Yeah, and it's a bold call here. You've shown the Ice Beam already. You used it against Vergate, and getting this Ice Shard down, and he banks the move, not throwing that debuffed Overheat. Are you able to get to this Ice Beam in time? You lose the cap tie against Whimsicott. Surprisingly high attack from this Puffball, and gets the final shield on the Grass Knot.
Yeah, this Ice Beam's coming in handy here. This is exactly why I wanted Ice Beam over Skull Bash, because it can take out this Whimsicott here. But it still has an Overheat. Let's see how much this does. Lapras regularly is quite bulky, but Shadow's a little bit more fragile.
Yeah, it's Shadow, and it's Overheat from a Pyroar. It's neutral. Is it enough? Yes, it is! Pyroar gets the KO as Lapras cannot tank it. I don't know how many Pokemon can tank an Overheat from a Pyroar, but Lapras, unfortunately, no shot. And Dusan Ristich has climbed back into this matchup. We are tied again. And yeah, he got the screenshot on you. Just
I would have done the same.
Extra flex. And oh no. This is not this. I can see you looking into your shirt. That shirt ain't gonna have any answers for you, Martine. Hypno on A-Rat does not work, and now Whimsicott finds Beware. Is not gonna be able to put that superpower pressure on any of Dusan's normal types, and he's got 5 of them, and you found the one fairy.
Yeah, this is a very rough one. I think my idea was that I wanted to force the switch out of there. That's why I went into the Beware rather than going into the Alolan Raticate there. Maybe that was in hindsight not the play. Considering it's the power in the back, shields down, Beware could be very good here. My idea here is to try and Shadow Claw down, flip switch advantage. Superpower is good on both Pokemon in the back, but also realizing shields down means that I can get traumatized by another Overheat here. So that's kind of rough. At this point, I feel like maybe it's better to get shields down here because the power will use the Overheat anyway at some point. So maybe it's better to make it a little bit more prone to an attack of mine.
Yeah, and it's really a matter of pick your poison. You know you have the Hypno on the Alolan Raticate if you can't flip alignment here, which Dusan does use both shields. And the catch on the Hypno, you might as well get some use out of the Psychic Pokemon. And taking this Grass move is a great decision to try and get something. Now you just got to go and TM Focus Blast on this Hypno, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I already revealed Ice Punch in the previous match against Virgie, so that was not gonna happen to have Focus Blast on there. I figured that maybe my Beware could still put in some work later, if it is power in the back, but it's gonna be rough. This Alolan Raticate can just still get so much energy. Dusan is going for a heavy undercharge, and that will allow him to get more energy. It does put his Alolan Raticate a little bit lower when I can get to another Ice Punch here, because I believe after this, the Hyper Fang might barely be enough to knock it out.
Yeah, and you are going to have to rely on that Alolan Raticator to do a lot of work here, as Hypno, unfortunately, will bow out to the Dark type. And this rat sees its counterpart on the other side. Here comes the return out of Dusan Ristich's Alolan Raticate. No, shielded. Just takes full hit. Can't shield anyway, so I don't know what I'm saying. But trying to get to this Hyper Fang, cannot get there before another return finds the mark, and any hope for this Alolan Raticate to carry is washed away. Beware comes in. A Stomp will take out this rat, but there is a no shield situation for that Pyroar, and I can see it licking its lips from here.
Yeah, Stomp is going to knock this out. Unfortunately, getting to that second return basically evaporated all my hope because I cannot even get to a superpower here anymore, and that is an 0-3 for me. I see a question in the chat. Is there a reason you went Hyperfang over return? That's because Hyperfang can actually win the 2 shields against Whimsicott, which was a problem here. Yeah, Whimsicott and Power, perfectly played by Dusan Resiege. Yeah, what can I say? Very well played.
Yep, like you said, not a lot you can do, and Hypno finding the rat game 3 just eliminated any chance of breaking that up. So
yeah,
Dusan able to respond with a 3-0 for Italy. I believe the first one we've seen. Unless you 3-0'd Vergi, so I guess level pegging for you. So
yeah,
I mean,
but at least you still have the the catch in mind from the previous one, right?
Yes.
So I still have some credibility.
That will live on. I'm Dusan who? I'm sorry. Well, let's move on. No more inadequate battles, but our other caster is going to be in action as C Leonardo 77 takes on Guido 99. Is it Guido or Guido K?
It's Guido.
All right, neither.
You can. We also call him Guy Dog, so that also works. Yeah.
I'll go Hito if that's what they want. Hito 1996. We do see a new challenger entering the field on Leonardo's side in that non-shadow Grand Bull, which it's not on Charm. You can't have Charm in this meta, so that is a Snarl Grand Bull. You're going to see in action from Leonardo alongside the cornucopia of bulky normals we've seen and that Shadow Galv. Hirok has Pyroar, Hypno, Florge's Double Ice. He's a man after my own heart. Dugong and Lapras. I still haven't seen my other ice type, but because I'm pretty sure I was the only person in all of Sovereign using Alolan Ninetales, and I stand by it. Alolan Ninetales beats the normals. So
it does?
Yeah, the Weather Ball spam gets it by the normals. As long as you don't have Shadow. It can't be Shadow. So this is going to be... I want to see what this Grand Bull can do on Snarl. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's pretty fragile though, so it's a little bit like Beware, right? You need to get shields down. Curious how these players are going to use this, really. I like the flexibility on Double Ice from Guido, because you can change Lapras to Water Gun if you want to. Power, again, looking pretty good on both sides, but Leonardo has done Sparse to cover it a little bit better. I think what Double Ice really has done for Guido is covering the Hypno and the Pyroar from Latios. There's no Latios here on Leonardo's team, but that's why it has been so effective for him, especially against Brazil when he went 6-0.
No. And I am glad you mentioned the Water Gun Lapras. I know you ran Ice Shard. I did run Water Gun Surf Ice Beam on my Lapras because I was using Lapras against the normals and to deter Pyroar. And then we kept running into Galvantula, and that was a problem. So we'll see how Leonardo uses his team to full effect here against Hirok. Let's get into these battles.
Yeah.
We are riding along with our co-caster C Leonardo, and we have Pyroar on Pyroar action to start things off here in set number 8. And we've seen this play out before, Martine. Is this going to be another double knockout situation?
Looks like Guido does win charge stack priority here. It doesn't really matter in this scenario, honestly. Both Pyro are just going to get rid of each other because otherwise the Incinerate just does too much damage on the back line. And Guido probably has at least one Ice type in the back. And in that case, yeah, you just need to get rid of this Pyro. None of these are going for the overheat likely. At this point, even a Flame Charge would knock out regardless.
Yeah, and Leonardo going for that extra Incinerate is going to throw up a shield here on the Pyroar. Now, I don't know if this changes it much, and he's actually going to go for the Incinerate down and gets it. That's a big heads-up play by Leonardo there, getting alignment at the cost of his shield, and it is the Water Gun Lapras coming in for Hito.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to do a good amount of damage. It does get... I believe it was Water Gun there from Guido. That does tell a little bit about the Lapras moveset. That does, which is a good matchup here, but you are shields down.
Yeah, and we can see trying to catch the move here on Florges, which is revealed as the final Pokemon in Game 1 for Hito. And this Will Run kind of bounces up. That's been the major issue with Dunsparce. It can do a lot of work against the Spice Picks, the Ice Pokemon, the Victinies, but when it has a neutral matchup here against something like Florges, it just seems to fall short. But Leonardo able to get it out there after getting those drill runs off. And this Florges is just going to fire the Moonblast, try and get whatever it can against this double.
Yeah, exactly. Moonblast's going to do a lot of damage here, though, but only gained to 1 charge stack. Kind of hurts there for Hito. Needed more out of it, and now Lapras comes back in. This is a body slam only, but Hito doesn't really have a lot left here.
No, and he has to take the body slam there, knowing that the Dunsparce could potentially just throw anything it wants. It might be in rollout down range at this point, Martine, and that's not a phrase I get to say very often. This Dunsparce gonna try and put away Lapras. It only needs 3 of them, and it will do the job as Hito's Lapras cannot make it work. And Leonardo puts another point on the board. 4 straight points for the Italians. And it is now 12-10, and just very unfortunate alignment there for the Dutch. Having that Pyroar and Pyroar situation and really go... Eradicate turning the tide potentially for Leonardo here in this opener, and Hiro maybe the wild charging dip is the option. No, gonna go for the body slam to try and get that reliable damage on this Alolan Eradicate, and big sneak there of the quick attack from Leonardo.
Yeah, another body slam coming through. I think that backline is going to be rough for Hito here because Dunsparce has about 3 pretty good matchups against him, right? There's double ice and there's a fire type that could potentially be in the back.
Yeah, although the other option is for Hito, if that Hypno is back there, that now has a lot of play with this Alolan Eradicate off the table. Lapras is going to come in to soak this crunch from the Alolan Eradicate. Oh no, that's Dugong, not Lapras. So he actually switched the ice type up. I thought the Lapras was coming back in, and Dugong able to handle Dunsparce a little better with that bulk and being able to debuff here with that slight energy gain farming down the Eradicate.
Yeah, this is going to... Oh, it's a Driron actually, going for more damage rather than debuff and then switching out. I like this play from Hito because if you ice him it and swap out yourself, your opponent's likely to switch out as well. Going to chip this and then probably going to the double here, I would do it.
And there's the Hypno that I thought Hito might be relying on there in the back, especially staying in and getting rid of that Alolan Eradicate. Frees up this Hypno so much because you don't think Leonardo's going to bring the squishier Galvantula or Granbull into this matchup, and this Hypno is just able to go to work here. All these confusions adding up on the double. So much energy for Hito's Hypno.
Yeah, another body slam here. Hypno does hang on here. Hito still had 2 shields, finally going for the first one here. A Side Shock will put the double quite low, but I'm pretty sure we'll get to another charge attack to pull Hito's potentially last shield. And then there's still the Dunsparce in the back, which is so bulky, so pretty challenging. Even has 2 body slams at this point, right?
That sheep is just putting in so much work here for C. Leonardo, as it has all Sovereign Cup. Hypno lives the body slam and gets out with the injury, and now this Dugong is going to take the body slam instead. Can Hito make that Hypno's energy work in the end game here against Dunsparce?
Yeah, it's gonna be rough because 4 turns. That's probably not gonna do a lot of 1 HP. The Dugong comes back in, but its pace is slower than Dunsparce. It's gonna get very close. I think that if Dugong is able to outpace, it might win here. But this is a charge stack priority tie, and I believe Dunsparce only 3 off.
Yeah, and you saw Leonardo go over slightly there, able to get that charge attack priority, and these rollouts continue to work on this Dugong. It cannot get the energy it needs. This rock slide coming in, and even with the debuff, it should be more than enough to dispatch Dugong from the matchup, and Hypno can just take the L as Leonardo puts another point on the board for the Italians, making it 13-10. And if you're Hito, you gotta find some way to break this up. That Dunsparce is doing way too much damage to your backline.
Yeah, at the side of Netherlands, we always underestimate Dunsparce, especially against neutral Pokemon such as Oinkologne and Double. But yeah, when it has good matchups, it obviously does quite well. Here we have the new leads, Alolan Renegade into Lapras. Lapras probably happy to avoid Dunsparce here, but this is also a little bit of a tough matchup because Water Gun is not as good of a fast attack, but because of the bulk of Lapras, it does hang on quite well here.
Yeah, it does mean, though, that this Alolan Raticate is able to strike first with this Crunch, slightly outpacing the Lapras. 14 Water Guns to a Surf. If you play Open Great League, you know that very well from Lantern. And Lapras is no different here, trying to fire this first move off against the Alolan Raticate. It is the Surf. It will do a nice little bit of chip and then an instant evacuation into Double to eat this Crunch instead.
Yeah, I think Hito kind of fearing the Pyroar on Leonardo's side, but he hasn't brought it even once. He's preserving the Lapras a little bit with some energy to take it all on the Double instead. I don't think his Body Slam will actually knock out.
No, I don't think so either. And this is an interesting call from Leonardo. We saw that Hypno in the back before, and Leonardo's choosing to use this Alolan Raticate to just get as much neutral crunch onto the other two Pokemon, and this Double is hanging on, and he's still able to save the Raticate for a potential catch later.
Yeah, Double is barely getting to the last charge deck here. It is likely going to be a wild charge from Hito. It looks like Leonardo wants to preserve some HP here. That makes perfect sense, and his energy can be good on anything in the back here, really. Especially if Lapras comes back in, you have wild charge almost loaded. In comes Lapras. Let's see what Leonardo is going to do. First, a Surf comes through, though.
It's an interesting fire here by Hito, just trying to put the early damage on the Lapras, from the Lapras on the Double. Now has the shield advantage. Cannot get to another one before this Body Slam comes in. The Corpus Contro dealing damage as it has all cup long and is able to take out the Lapras, and it's double ice from Hidok. He did not learn his lesson.
It's ABA to Dunsparce again. It is a Hito classic. In comes the Dunsparce almost immediately from Leonardo. I believe Dugong actually puts up a really good fight in the one shield, but there's also almost a wild charge loaded on Double. So a very uphill battle here for Hito. And then there's also the Raticate. Hito does not have any catches as well.
Yeah, he's bankrupted his options. It is Dugong or bust, and this Dunsparce is more than happy to deal the losing cards with these rock moves as another one comes in, just able to just run laps around this Dugong, which it's a Dunsparce. You don't think it can do that, but it is just rapid firing these rock slides off. Dugong trying to get another debuff on here, but it's just a matter of time before Leonardo can clear it.
Yeah, one more charge attack and you're able to switch out. Dunsparce cannot even be farmed down at this point. Leonardo only really needs to put this Dugong into wild charge range. Finally throw the charge attack. I think at some point...
he was trying to... I could see what Leonardo was doing. He was trying to get this Dunsparce out so it wasn't a debuffed rock slide, but he ran out of time. And is that the opening for this Dugong? There's a lot of energy now on the field, but Leonardo still has a shield and a Double that is close enough to that Body Slam. I mean, Hito needs two moves here to get rid of this Double. There's one. There's the Icy Wind. Can he get the second? No, he cannot. Leonardo is going to lay the hoof down on this Dugong. One more Body Slam for the road, and it's a second straight 3-0 for Italy to go up 14-10 in this matchup. And I can see Leonardo in chat. Sag, the timer isn't up, but it didn't matter there. Just Dunsparce put in so much work. Dunsparce heard everything we said about it and just went, watch me.
I thought Leonardo just didn't care anymore and was just not going to throw charge attacks and then wild charge just to save like the 10 seconds of the rock slide. But I guess he indeed tried to get out with the rock slide there. Yeah, very good display of Dunsparce there. Even against some of the tackle users, it still does very well with its non-same type attack bonus charge attacks. Just because of its bulk, it just fares well and it paces fast, and that makes it very good. On top of that, there's like nothing that resists ghost, rock, and ground. So you always have something to hit with Dunsparce, and especially if it's super effective even.
Yeah, I was really surprised Hito went back to the double ice. Seeing Dunsparce on the field, I'm surprised we didn't see Florges after game 1. I mean, we saw Leonardo lean on that Alolan Eradicate. Florges the natural response to it, but it seemed like that Pyroar from Leonardo just got into his head a little bit, and not seeing the Florges there, I think, allowed Leonardo to dictate the pace and find a home for that Dunsparce, as he did in all 3 matchups against Hito.
Yeah. Our next matchup is also going to be in pair 4. We will have Feelback versus Normalheim. And yeah, again, a very similar team that we've seen in this meta so far. However, Feelback has a Slowbro, which has very interesting coverage and actually does very well against Normalheim's team.
I was gonna say, that's not the Galarian Slowbro we've seen so often. That is Slowbro Classic in the Kanto form there. So gonna be it could potentially be another water gun user. We've seen the water gun Lapras, but it could also have confusion. And looking at Normalheim's side, that's a tough call, because you have the Hypno and you have the Dugong. I'm not sure which way you want to lean with that Slowbro not having that poison jab like its Galarian sibling.
Yeah, I think if you run Water Gun, you only really pick up Hypno, while Confusion fares better against Beware and Dugong. So you can pick up 1 or 2 matchups. I wouldn't really expect Water Gun just because you're Alolan Eradicate to hard check that Hypno. So yeah, I'm expecting Confusion from Feelback.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering if we're going to see the Galvantula at some point. We haven't seen a lot of it. We've seen yours with Fury Cutter.
Yeah,
I was very interested. a little bit, but there's no Pyroar on Normalheim's side, so this Galvantula could have a lot of play. It looks like it will do well into the entire side here for Feelback, but let's see. He has the option to play it out, and we don't. We just got to sit here and watch alongside all of you, the 125 of you that are out there. Let's get into these matchups, Martijn.
Yeah, I love some Slowbro action. And your wish is fulfilled. There is the Shadow Galvantula. But if it has Volt Switch, it actually doesn't do that great in this matchup because it's so fragile. These Confusions do like 10% each. Look at, where's the HP going?
I mean, it's quickly disappearing off this Shadow Bug. It's so easily squishy, but this Hypno has to respect lunge out of this Galvantula. There's the first shield, and quickly into the double here. And more sheep on sheep action awaits us, Martijn, as these 2 bulky normal stalwarts continue to just fling their feet at each other.
Yeah, I like preserving the energy on the Normalheim's side there. You don't really want to throw your debuffed charge attacks here, and especially if you think it could be that Slowbro that beats like about your entire line, the Thunder Punches will be very useful as well. So I think at this point, you probably just want to lose switch advantage perhaps and get more energy. But I think that's also what Feelback wants, because the energy from the Galvantula also is good on about anything.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that Thunder Punch. That is a huge advantage that Normalheim has in that Slowbro matchup, as opposed to like Ice Punch that we've seen earlier on the Hypno. We do see the shield coming from Feelback on that Body Slam, able to tackle down the opposing sheep, and this is going to be a nice little bit of farm if for either of these Pokemon coming in. That's very useful energy to have, and it is going to be the Hypno that's going to take advantage here.
Oh, charge attack priority tie. This is so painful for Normalheim because he needs this energy for the backline, right? You now take damage plus you use your energy. So yeah, that's kind of rough there. Actually going for the entire undercharge. I don't know if this is going to be the play because I think Feelback will swap out anyway.
Yep, and we see the Slowbro come in. I almost said Galarian by default, but it is Kanto Slowbro coming in to take this Thunder Punch that Feelbag now knows is there. The Tuono Puño just doing almost half the damage here and really making it easy for this Oinkologne coming in. Even if it takes this Surf, it kind of just washes off this pig's hide.
Yeah, you kind of need to keep the shield for the Galvantula Charge Attack, which hits so hard. Let's see, going for the Body Slam. Perfect timing there from the Malheim, right before this Slowbro can get to that next Charge Attack, and actually putting up the last shield here.
Yeah, I think Feelbag sees the energy on the Slowbro, knows how tough it's going to be to get it back on the double, on the Galvantula, does want to use it here to get rid of this Oinkologne, but I think Normalheim is now more than happy to try and farm back up with this Hypno. These Confusions doing nothing to either Psychic user, and the Slowbro doesn't fire the energy there. Did have the Surf, and I don't know if that's a mistake out of Feelbag, but here comes Hypno, tried to catch on the double. Can it tackle down here? And yes, man, it can! Just barely getting rid of Normalheim's Hypno. And Feelbag able to keep this roll going for Italy. That's 7 straight points for the Italians to take a 15-10 lead. And as we mentioned, it's first to 25 here, Martijn. I'm not sure where you want to go from there.
Well, obviously, Netherlands is going to go like 5-3 soon, right? So let's just wait. Anyway, we have game number 3 here. Looks like Normalheim is dropping the Hypno that lost Charge Attack priority earlier and lost him the game. This time he's going to try it with the Beware, but Beware doesn't have that great of a matchup against a Confusion user as well, even though it does have Shadow Claw. This matchup, again, dependent on the debuff. If you get the Crunch debuff here, the Alone Eradicate hits wins quite hard. But so far, all the players that have been using Alone Eradicate haven't been very lucky in this lead matchup of the Eradicate versus Double.
No, I think we've only seen that one debuff coming in our last matchup from this Alolan Eradicate. The Crunch is just not delivering that extra little bit here. As we see another Crunch coming through, I can assure y'all we are seeing this. We're not frozen.
Oh, catches the wall charge! It's super effective though.
On the Slowbro though. Oh no! We come in, but the Spritza Lampo does more than 2/3 of that Slowbro's health. You thought the Wild Charge would rock this Slowbro. It is going to be able to get to a Surf here, but that is almost nothing out of this Pokemon for Feelbag. A big hit there for Normalheim.
Yeah, this puts Normalheim in such a good spot here. There's 2 shields still on the Galvantula. There's also still half the Alolan Eradicate, which has, I believe, quite some energy as well. Going into the Galvantula is surprising because you have to shield pretty much immediately here, and that gives the Beware in the back a lot of play.
It does, but I think Feelbag just wants the energy here on this Galvantula. If you can get a ton of moves here and just pressure the shields on that Beware, that does make it a little easier for the Eradicate, but both shields are now gone on this Shadow Galvantula. Will it be able to farm down before another Body Slam? And he throws the energy here. I don't think he was going to make it, Martijn.
Yeah, I think you could have farmed down entirely here as Feelbag. I think he's expecting the Hypno in the back. That's why he got so much energy on this Galvantula. Cross Poison coming through, shooting the first one. But this is scary because this could boost the attack of the Galvantula. Let's take a look. Does it boost? Yeah. It doesn't boost.
Oh, it doesn't get that boost there. And now this Spooter is about to get stomped by this Beware. And there is going to be nothing left. The Pestone finds its mark, and this Alolan Eradicate is scared, and it's not even gonna get the superpower treatment out of this Beware. Normalheim says, "You're not worth it. Here's another stomp for you." Doesn't even take it out. And this Eradicate is forced to just endure this slow, painful march onto its back, as a second stomp is enough to take out Alolan Eradicate. Normalheim stops the slide, puts a point on the board for the Netherlands, and that just all went wrong for Philbeg there.
Yeah. I think he was trying to hide the superpower there. But I don't think you expect Stomp and Payback on Beware there. So this basically was kind of
Drain
torture.
Punch. We don't know.
No,
It's
you're right.
got Drain Punch.
Oh,
So,
man. This is a lead.
This is Galvantula on Beware. This will be quick. This will be painful. And Galvantula is not able to win the race as this Stomp comes in from Beware. Philbeg now very aware it has Stomp. And it draws the first shield on this Galvantula, trying to get the moves, the Veleno Croce, the Cross Poison coming in. And this is what Galvantula has been able to do in this meta, is just spam this poison move.
Wow, that does a lot of damage. Can you even get to another one? And yes, a full Volt Switch sneaking through. Though I think you could have gotten another Shadow Claw in there, but just wants to ensure getting this Stomp off. Taking both shields from this Galvantula really opens up for the backline, but there's so much energy on this Galvantula, and this Lunge is probably one of the harder hitting attacks that you kind of have to shield here.
Yeah, and not only that, Philbeg knows he's going to be able to get another one on this Oinkologne before it even threatens a body slam. He's actually going to bank the lunge. I love that play out of Philbeg, as now Alolan Raticate draws out the final Pokemon for Normalheim in this double. And this is something we've seen a lot today, Martine. Can this rat get the debuff? No, it cannot.
It's just never lucky. Anyway, almost at 2 Charge 6 now, double. Normalheim a little bit in a tough spot there because there's still energy on that Galvantula as well. And there's still a full Slowbro. He already revealed both Pokemon here, both the double and the Oinkologne. I think you kind of want to keep the double for that Slowbro if you expect that, because at least you have Wild Charge there.
Indeed, and I mean, a double Oinkologne backline is maybe one of the most predictable ones you can hazard a guess to in Sovereign. And this double going to have a last gasp here with this Wild Charge. Does take out the Alolan Raticate. But now that's a big confusion for the Slowbro to get off the ground here. This Oinkologne, no Trailblaze to be seen. And just able to try and build up here, trying to go for double surf. This Oinkologne is going to fake it like it does have it. But these body slams have to do a lot of work, and there's still that lunge on the Galvantula as this Psychic comes through from Philbeg Slowbro.
Yeah, Psychic actually has been nerfed into the ground, but looks like Normalheim is going to shield that anyway. Now going into the Galvantula, I think this lunge will do more damage than that Psychic would have done.
With the Shadow and the Psychic nerf, I think you're right. The Assaulto almost takes out the Pig, and one Volt Switch is going to do the job, and Philbeg gets a 2-1 on the board, making it 16-11 for Italy. And we are over the halfway point here now, Martine, and this is the biggest advantage that the Italians have had. Again, we talked about it. This is the first final for the Netherlands. The Italians have been here so many times before. What do your Dutch compatriots have to do here to try and claw back into this matchup?
Well, yeah, it's gonna be rough. I mean, Colin hasn't played yet. He has won 2 play Pokemon Regionals, so he's one of the best players Netherlands has as well. I believe he will be up in some of the next matchups, so maybe he can be the one to turn the tides for Netherlands. At this point, you're 5 points behind. We are 5 points behind. We gotta do something, team.
Clearly, we need a pep talk from Inadequence in the locker room there. So Martine and I will take another break here. We will get you back to FishOnAHeater and see Leonardo77, who I'm sure will not be gloating about this Italian advantage.
Italia, Italia, Italia. Oh, I'm excited. Can I just say how much fun I'm having here? Because like I'm normally, for those who aren't aware, I'm normally like behind the scenes producing this stuff. But I was just so hype on this matchup. Like my background is Italian. I've got Italian grandparents on both sides, so I feel a strong connection with Italy, and then to have that plus so many hype battlers on the Netherlands side, and you know, getting Inadequance and yourself and AJ on board as casters as well, I was just like, I have to get in on this. So I've gone in front of the camera as well as behind, and yeah, I think this is despite many issues that pop up here and there, I think this is going really well, and it's super fun to be a part of.
So far 16-11, but yeah, looks like Italy now is just having another pace. let's say they are able to continue with this rhythm, or maybe Colin 6 is able to get some points home to make it closer until the very end. If we look at the matchups here, we can see that Shadow Latios on Joppy's side, on condition that Lapras has water gun, and we don't know that yet, has basically a lot of play that would force Colin to run Fury Cuts on Galvantula, and of course to run Beware probably all 3 games. So Latios is exerting a lot of bench pressure now. I can also see that Beware is definitely very strong on Colin 6 side, because again, 3 Pokemon can be one shot, 2 Pokemon take super effective damage from the fast move, and 1 Pokemon, which is Whimsicott, is not doing that much damage with the fast moves to Beware, despite being super effective, unless we are seeing another Razor Leaf Whimsicott. We don't know that yet.
We do know because Joppy was in match number 1, I believe. So I think we've seen the Razor Leaf.
Right.
So, and that's the thing with these Gymbreakers battles is that once, because each player is battling 2 opponents from the other team, once a battler plays their first opponent, then they have that information. That information's now public, so they can share that information amongst each other. So now Colin should be going into this matchup knowing that Joppy's running a Razor Leaf Whimsicott.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still forgotten because Joppy just played the very first match, and and he waited 2 weeks before playing these matches. So yeah, definitely, I had forgotten that he had played before. Apart from this, Pyro looks very good on Joppy's side. Maybe Colin really has to run Water Gun Lapras to try and stop it, but Whimsicott, of course, is a huge threat if Lapras has access only to Water Gun. So yeah, Colin has to make a choice here.
Alright, let's begin. This is... Netherlands do have a bit of a gap to close now, as opposed to last time we were on. Let's see if they can do it with this first matchup. It is the Beware versus the Pyro. Like all normal matchups, the Beware is not going to do any fast move damage, despite having such a strong move in the Shadow Claw. But that superpower has to be respected. It is probably going to draw shields, and sure enough, Joppy shielding the first move, which happens to be the Stomp.
Yeah, this is a very tricky matchup, because if Beware stays in and baits, you can actually win the 2 shields, I believe. Now this overheat, let's see if he gets unshielded.
Oh no. It's
This
coming.
shield.
Oh, it's
Okay.
shield. Oh, I love those last second shields. They're so tense in the moment. You're like, it's like a horror movie. It's like, don't go in there. But it is, it's just adding more hype to the battles. We have double mirror match action now. The first body slam coming out from Colin's side, and now the matching body slam coming out on Joppy's side as well. They are trading body slams.
Yeah, I think Joppy now is pretty happy with letting this double go down. There is no real need to fight for the switch, because you can just make 2 more Incinerates on Pyro and become unstoppable. Okay, but you actually throw, which also makes sense. But now you are kind of in Shadow Claw range for Beware. So maybe you want to pivot again into either your Pokemon in the back.
Yeah, it's tough. It's always a risky strategy going for a Shadow Claw farm down on a normal type, but Colin is the man who can pull that off. Now we get another Stomp from the Beware, and the second shield coming out from Joppy's side. These Dutch players are just so good at baiting with those Stomps. They, like, the Italian battlers just are respecting the superpower way too much, and the Dutch are capitalizing on that. Now we get, was that a Flame Charge or an Overheat? It was a Flame Charge, and now a bit of payback on the Italian side, because the lower damage move is shielded, and now this Overheat is going to fry this piggy, and we are all going to be having roast pork for dinner.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane damage, and now Pyro is going to... Okay, he decides to reveal the on-coin. I don't know if I would have done that, but okay, that's fine. I probably just didn't want to...
It's okay.
Just wanted to get it over with it, with a couple of more tackles.
You're 6 points up. May as well, right? So yeah, the Italians increase that lead. What started off with a very tight seesawing affair has started to balloon out on one side. It is the Italians pulling ahead, like the viewers were predicting. We did throw that poll up before, and 80% of respondents did say that Italy would go on to win from here, despite Netherlands being up by 2 at that stage. So obviously, these viewers know something that I didn't, because I thought this was going to be pretty close from start to finish.
Yeah, let's see now how Colin 6 decides to adapt. Of course, we will see again Pyro. Let's see. Okay, so double is actually pretty solid response. I wouldn't say a counter, but it's able to check Pyro pretty decently.
Okay, so Giopi getting up a couple of incinerates on the Pyro before switching out into the double. The Pyro has done a couple of incinerates worth of damage to the opposing double now, which means that maybe that might require one less body slam to KO, or maybe we might see a bit of damage and then a switch out from Colin, maybe banking some of that energy. Let's see how they play it.
Yeah, Colin now smartly goes for wild charge because body slam wouldn't KO. And he really wants to get rid of this double. So boom, down goes the double, and now he's pivoting into the other tackle users. So this is why having 2 tackle users is very useful here in this meta. You can just dance around with either and keeping being safe.
Flame Charge going unshielded now on Colin's side. Colin has learned his lesson, so those Incinerates are now going to be doing more damage because it is single attack boosted. This Body Slam is going to be shielded, so Giopi now going to invest into this Pyro, hoping to maybe get the Incinerate down and then unleash some moves. No, banking some energy and now sending in his own Oinkologne, which will be able to get a tackle down. Not before taking a bit of a Body Slam hit itself, but the Oinkologne is not going to care. It's going to take that Body Slam in its stride and then throw that last tackle to KO the opposing Oinkologne.
Yeah, now there's body slam damage plus tackle damage puts definitely this Oinkologne into superpower range. Even if Beware debuff itself, I think the second superpower should be able to KO the Oinkologne regardless. So now it is a pretty commanding position for Colin 6 because it still has 2 shields. Okay, so one is now used, but a lot of energy on Beware now.
Yeah, so there is the 2 Pokemon left that can share some of this load here. The Oinkologne is just going to step aside and make way for the Pyro to do the rest of this damage, and I think that is a smart move because those Shadow Claws won't be able to do anything, so it'll have to get up to 2 superpowers to KO the Pyro, which when it's doing all that damage with its own Incinerate, that's going to be a hard task. So now the double comes in and is going to take one of those Flame Charge. Well, it's not going to take the Flame Charge, it's going to shield that Flame Charge. Now going to get off a Body Slam. We're going to trade shields here, and it's going to be a race to see who can KO that other Pokemon first. Will there be an Incinerate farm down? Will it be a Flame Charge? It is going to be the Incinerate farm down, and now there is that move ready to go, and Pyro is winning CMP ahead of that Beware. I did not expect that to happen. I would have thought Beware would win that charge attack priority, but it does not, and that move will KO the Beware. Italy putting another point on the board.
Yeah, Pyro just making the final farm down. I think exactly with the same amount of HPs that were needed to take off double, because I really didn't think that the last Incinerate could make it, but it was a perfect farm down until the very HP. So everything that Giopi needed was just energy on Pyro to win the CMP tie. Well done.
And finally, for this third matchup, it is a double mirror match to get us started. So both trainers staying in for now. We see the Beware and the Oinkologne in the back on Colin's side. Let's see how they come into play. We don't know what Giopi's running in the back on his side, so we're going to have a bit of mystery in this battle.
Yeah, I guess probably Pyro is not mystery at all, but yeah, on the third one it's going to be a bit of uncertainty until the very end. Now, this double mirror is pretty strange because 2 body slams do not KO, so you have to go for the wild charge if you want to win the 0, but here the Giopi swaps out into Oinkologne just to preserve the double until the end. And now this Beware as a counter swap a bit tricky, isn't it? Because you can't really debuff yourself right now.
Yeah, so are we going to see the same strat that we've been seeing so often from the Dutch, which is to throw the stomp first and then the superpower? But no, they don't even throw the superpowers normally. This time is an exception, though. Colin is going to finally go for it, and it goes unshielded. So that takes out most of the Oinkolone's HP. It does have a little bit left, and you know what? I think this is a smart no shield from Colin, because even with that low HP, trying to Shadow Claw that thing down was going to be such a tall task. It's better to get the energy on one of your 2 remaining Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. You really need to have as much energy as possible, because and you don't want to be down shields against a potential Pyro in the back.
Yeah, totally. But here's the thing with Pyro is that it has that fast attack potential that it can navigate its way through an opponent that has saved its shields. So now Colin is going to invest one of those shields in this double, bank the double body slam, and now bring out its an Oinkologne into not a Pyro, it's the Shadow Latios, and another Pokemon that has that fast attack pressure as well as a bit of that charged attack pressure with the Dragon Claws, just like the Dragonite. It's really balanced. It can do both. It can change its strategy depending on the shield situation of the opponent. We see that attack coming out into the Oinkologne, and it is going to be shielded. Of course, it's going to be shielded. One body slam is going to come out, and now that double is going to have to do the rest of the work itself. It's got those 2 body slams built up. It's just going to be a matter of how much energy can this Latios build up. Can it get to a Dragon Claw? And because we can't see Gioppi's side, we don't know whether it can. It does get there, and that Dragon Claw will take the double out and ruin all of that hard-earned energy. Oh, it's a Luster Purge even.
Yeah, he must have found down a really huge amount of energy, but of course we couldn't really keep track of the energy on Joppy's side because no footage was available. But yeah, definitely, I think the choice of leaving Pyro on the bench for the game 3 was smart, because you would expect after Pyro roasted your line twice, maybe a Watergun Lapras was going to see the field for the 3rd game. So using Latios was a good call.
So that is was that a 3-0 for Gioppi?
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah. So
yes.
yeah, we are extending that lead even further. 8 points up now. Can this train be stopped? Can anyone on the Dutch team stop what the Italians are doing?
For sure, a big comeback is needed, but yeah, definitely Netherlands has the quality to do that. So never think anything for granted until the very end, especially when every player in the competition are very good. Definitely.
And speaking of, we do have the return of Bommaroon versus Colin once again. Now, Inadequates was talking up Colin as being the man who could bring the Netherlands back in touch with Italy. Didn't get it done the first time, but has another opportunity now. And do you see any differences in these teams? Maybe Colin's team matches up a little better against Bomber's team?
Well, definitely the absence of Pyro is a very big absence for Bomberoni. He has Victinter, which doesn't really play that bad, but unfortunately he really gets a lot of damage from the Shadow Claws of Beware. And the matchup against Galvantula is not even that clean. And so really a little bit strange matchups for Victini, on both sides to be fair. But I can see it will eradicate, but also have some good play. We didn't see Galvantula yet, basically, on Colin's side. So maybe eradicate was a good play, and also, of course, double tackle users for both players. I think it should be probably a must.
Of course, as almost everyone has done, brought the double tackle user. We also have that familiar dichotomy where Bomber's got the Alolan Raticate, but Colin has the Beware, but then Bomber also has the Whimsicott as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how those play out against each other if they do so. Let's see how we go. This is set number 11, Bomber versus Colin.
Okay, matchup is not that great for either, to be fair. But as Colon, you should be, of course, you should shield the first move because it's very likely to be a superpower and dip. Please shield. Okay, that's it.
We do get that shield and then the dip as you predicted, and now double is going to come out and it's going to be one tackle user against the other. The body slam is going to come out because that Oink alone has built up a little bit of energy in that time, and now we see the opposing double coming out, so trading one tackle user for another.
Yeah, and now this extra body slam damage ensures that now the Bomberonis double is able to maintain alignment. Of course, you don't want to put your own Beware down a shield in the mirror because it would be absolutely detrimental. But also the CMP tie lost is not that great. Probably throwing one charge just before Colin reached the body slam would have been better. I don't know. Oh, okay, actually it's not CMP tie. I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought.
And
it
now
was
this
too.
F range is very dangerous because now you're gonna get Shadow Claw down for sure.
Yeah, I wonder how many Shadow Claws it's going to take from here. We see one Body Slam is going to do some consolation damage to the Beware. It's going to take that in its stride. So Colin, once again, investing those shields. We see that Garvantula in the back, which is probably going to need those shields. And let's see, Bomber's got the Oinkalone and it's got the Beware, brings out the Oinkalone. And now Colin going to go for the superpower once again. Is Bomber going to shield this one? Does spend that second shield, but that Beware's managed to build up some energy. The Garvantula now comes out and is going to start working its magic with two shields in hand, and Colin is going to use that first one now.
Yeah, and the regular Galvantula, of course, is going to be able to endure the tackle damage better. So I think Galvantula has the game in his pocket right now. Two cross poison are going to get the job done against Beware, plus the bolt switch, of course. And actually, Bomberoni tried to catch the lunge on Beware. It would have been great if it worked out.
Yeah, the Stomp is going to get that last shield from the Garvantula. We see Garvantula does have multiple cross poisons built up. I think that was completely loaded out. I think that was the 100 energy cap on the Garvantula. So he's going to throw that cross poison to KO the Beware, and now gets to two cross poisons to take out this Oinkalone. I think this will get the job done. Surely, if the first one doesn't do it on its own, the second one definitely will. There is the first, and oh, this is going to be close. I think this will get the KO, but that is I'm looking at a very small screen, so I'm not entirely sure it does do the job.
Yeah, and yeah, I'd say that the ability of Colin 6 here to get the shield early on every time, and then swapping out into a tackle user bulky Pokemon really paid off, because you basically were in control of the match for the entire time since the very start, and the opponent was always being one shield down, and it was really tough.
Alright, now we go the opposite. So instead of saving the Garvantula for the back, Colin is deciding to lead the Garvantula, building up to that lunge, throwing it straight away, not messing around, and is going to get that off before the Oinkalone can throw any moves of its own. The Oinkalone can tank this, and Bomber knows that, so is not going to spend that shield just yet. Is going to throw a body slam. I think he built up to the dig, but is, I guess... going for that body slam just to just so that they can throw the two moves to get the KO. Unfortunately, not going to happen because that cross poison is going to come out first.
Yeah, and Colin on the charges because it really doesn't want to win the lead, so it makes perfectly sense because of course those players don't know the opponent's backliner. We do, but whoever makes one Shadow Claw with Beware basically wins. And so this is what Collins does. So very smartly played. Of course, superpower and dip, and you are already ahead in this game.
And he does it exactly like that. So now the double on Bomber's side does have a huge energy lead, so you would think that is advantage for that particular side of the battle. But we've seen how much damage the Colin is doing with his own Beware, so it's really going to come down to how that is played out, no matter what happens in this double matchup.
Yeah, just being able to stay 2 shields to 1 until the very end with a super healthy Beware against the Bomberoni's team. On condition that Bomberoni hasn't brought Whimsicott in this game, it is a win condition. And Colin has executed this plan at the perfection for the game 1 and for the game 2 as well, it looks like. Of course, it's not over yet, but he's in a pretty commanding position right now. And another Shadow Color down on a very low health double. This is the late motive of this round. And yeah, now unless you bait Stomp twice by mistake and Bomberoni decide to let it go, I think this is already a 19-13.
Well, I mean, Bomber does have the option of the catch on the Oinkalone, I guess.
That's true.
So there is that win condition. We see the last shield coming out on Bomber's side, so correctly calling that superpower, you've got, and there is that attempt at a catch, and it does not happen. So Colin getting that win and getting, was that 2 or 3 points? I think that was just the second one for this match. I think we still have one more to go. Yeah,
that's 2 upon Colin 6. We see Bomberoni actually waited 1 turn, but it was 1 passing move off on the counting. So he waited a turn when the Colin 6 didn't have superpower loaded yet.
That's a good eye.
But yeah, sadly, it is what it is. Now I think the aim for Bomberoni now is trying to put Whimsicott against Beware, because there is no way we can stop this stuff there. This is too strong for Bomberoni's team, it looks like.
Yeah, and it's really the only.
And we see the Whimsicott actually.
We do see it in the back there. Unfortunately, unable to be matched up against the Beware, at least for now. So Beware is going to be in the lead. So Colin deciding not to try and sneak it in later in the game to try and get that energy lead, is just going to do the old superpower and dip, that classic strat.
Yeah, and I guess now Bomberoni has just to stay in for a bit and hopefully doing a tackle down with Oinkalone and try not to be in a Shadow Claw range, otherwise it's going to be very bad. But you really need to gain switch advantage here. So double bodies that makes sense, and potentially swapping out, or we can just stay in at this point.
Just stays in. Is 2 body slams going to be enough? Double, it has kind of a mid-level bulk. It does do enough damage that I think a second body slam would have KO'd if it even got there. I don't think it quite had enough energy yet. A wild charge is going to do obviously more damage than a body slam. Just trying to get as much damage as it can off before the last tackle takes it out.
Yeah, at least now you have ensured that your Whimsicott is going to be paired up against the Beware, but we have a double shielded Galvantula, which is also regular, so even better against the tackle users, and it's going to be tough anyway.
So just letting that body slam go, building up a little bit more energy, then throwing that cross poison. Now the Whimsicott, while it can do many things, it does not want to take a cross poison from a Galvantula, so it's gonna be a bit. I mean, we probably won't see the Whimsicott here in this matchup. We'll probably see the double coming out to try and tackle down from there. Unfortunately, that Galvantula just getting to that cross poison just so fast is going to take that double out, and now Whimsicott's got to finish things off on its own. It has a large job ahead of it.
Yeah. Also, the very unnecessary boost on Galvantula when it's not needed anymore. I think that So Colin made a wrong 50-50 choice. So when he decided to let the move go and not to preserve Galvantula's health, because he was calling no Whimsicott for this third game as well. But this time Bomberoni was prepared and worked out to align the Whimsicott on Beware at the end. So 2 shields on Beware didn't really do much for Colin in the end. So that's 20 2013, right?
13, yeah. And I also did
2013.
forget that there was Razor Leaf on that Whimsicott as well, which changed that situation completely. Like, it's I was originally thinking that Whimsicott trying to farm down the rest of that Galvantula would be a pretty nasty situation, but with Razor Leaf, even though it's resisted, it does still do plenty of damage and would have been able to get that job done.
Yeah, exactly. And I still believe that the two shielded Beware against a Fairy Wind single shielded Whimsicott, I believe it still wins. So it would have been definitely worse for Bomberone if Whimsicott had Fairy Wind.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Italy is getting dangerously close to the win. It is 20-13. It is first to 25 that gets the win and becomes champions of the world. We see Virgi is back against Tho Technical, who, now remind me, I think Tho Technical 3-0'd in his last set, or...
Yeah, he did 3-0 against Doosan. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe this will be... like, if he can repeat it again, then that will bring them much, much closer. A 3-0 is a very powerful thing in a format like this. It really makes a huge difference. Also, one thing that I probably should have mentioned a little earlier, those little icons next to their names. You see some of these names with little gold icons, some with, like, these light blue ones, like you see here, and then some with a darker blue. Gymbreakers has a ranking system for the players. It's like an elo system, and so you can attain these different ranks. The yellow ones are the gold rank, these lighter blue ones are the platinum rank, and the darker blue ones are the highest rank, and they are the diamond rank. Now, only 2 players in this match have achieved the diamond rank, and they are both on the Italian side in Aspergeltor and yourself, isn't it? Yeah, yep, present.
That's good.
But that doesn't tell the whole story, because we have players like Tho here and Inadequate, who I don't think have been in the Gymbreakers system as long, so they haven't had time to kind of build up those elo points to get them to the next rank. So it's kind of a take it with a grain of salt kind of thing.
Yeah, it's also a double-edged sword, because, of course, if you lose to Tactical or to Inadequance, and you are up in the rankings, and you get 3-0'd, which is totally feasible, and no shame in losing 3-0 to these guys, you lose a lot of points in the rankings, because they are temporarily lower ranked, and this is going to be, well, yeah, this is the drawback of this system, of course.
Yes, and Normix, who is the manager of Gymbreakers, pointing out that, yeah, there are some higher ranks that can be attained, but no one has attained them yet in Master and Grandmaster. So at the moment, Diamond is the highest that anyone in the system has attained. So, with that said, let us see if Tho Technical can make that 3-0 dream come true and bring themselves a little bit closer to catching Italy. Here we go.
There's a man who can do this. He's the man.
It is him. First up, we have the Alolan Raticate into the double. We've seen this favor the Alolan Raticate, but I believe this was the one that Inadequance was saying is debuff dependent.
It is, because the second crunch will not KO if the first crunch didn't make the debuff. And also, yeah, and so double is able to win the zero shield with several spreads of IVs, because you might be able to one-shot the Raticate after one body slam and all the cycle damage. But not all the Raticates survive the one crunch.
Second crunch coming out from the Alolan Raticate, and oh, that was a bit of an undercharge. They're trying to get a little bit of quick attack damage out. I'm not sure if that was necessarily... Oh, well, I mean, okay, might not have been trying to get more energy. Maybe was looking to get some energy on his own Pyroar. Looks like that is what's happening. And an insta-switch from Tho Technical into the Shadow Celio. The Shadow Celio running the Water Pulse, the newly updated Water Pulse, now making it the obvious second move to run on Celio over the Aurora Beam. Just going with Body Slam for now, which is going to take the Pyroar into the yellow, so it can't take another one of those. And Virgi is going to invest a shield, doesn't want that energy to go to waste.
Yeah, definitely. Was a bit too greedy, because he could have thrown the move before having to burn one shield. it's usually better to force your opponent to make a decision about shielding before you have to do that yourself. But now you have doubled up on flame charge, so you're able to get 2 shields if you want, which is a very good thing to do always, especially with Pyro. So let's see how the game develops from here.
Alright, so Third Technical is throwing another body slam, and Virgi knows not to invest that shield. It's not going to come in much use here. The double is going to come back out, and just gets that little bit of energy, catches a body slam on the Alolan Raticate. So Virgi is keeping as much health on his double as possible. The Raticate is going to take that damage, and now the double is going to back kick its way down through the rest of that Celio. Out comes the Oinkologne.
Yeah, and now the game becomes instantly downhill for Virgil Parigi. It just has to be wary about the potential catch, and so this is why Pro Tactical let the Celio go down without switching out, because he wants the timer to be still up. So he tried to catch at some point. You just need to be lucky at this point, because it's a one turn versus one turn move. You can't really time the catch exactly.
It's really just guess right, isn't it?
Yeah, it didn't work out this time. And down goes the Oinkologne, and that's 1-0.
So Italy getting themselves up to 21-13. So Third Technical can't get the 3-0, but there is still 2 more points to be had in this match. So can potentially get it back to 21-15, make it a 6-point margin, and leads with the Shadow Latios. We've seen this thing do so much damage on both of the teams. I think there's been 2 teams that we've seen running it. We see how much that Dragon Breath is doing. We also see the tackles doing just an equal amount back. So as much as it can give the damage, it can't really take the damage.
Yeah, it feels like Oinkologne has Dragon Breath too. But yeah, I think in 2 shields, Latios wins by CMP time, or maybe just by farm down if you have very bad IVs on Oinkologne. Virgil decides to let it go because he knows that you can't really ask more than winning the 0 shield against Latios, so this is fine. We will see a shield here probably.
And oh yeah, so shielding that Dragon Claw, I think though might have been able to get to that Luster Purge. I think it was only like 1 or 2 Dragon Breaths away, but doesn't matter, gets the shield either way. Now the Oinkologne is going to come out, and we've seen this so many times. The double into the Oinkologne, double and double Oinkologne is the 2 most common matchups that have happened so far this tournament.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised. They are like 85% usage. They are embarrassing. But yeah, definitely. Now the Latios is so low. This is everything that Virgi wanted to achieve, because now Pyro has the opportunity to shine without being too afraid of Latios, which I think though it has still some energy, right? Maybe a few Dragon Breaths away from the final Dragon Claw.
Yeah, 100%. Now, okay, so before we can see that though, the double and the Pyro have a showdown to get through. We see the shield on the first body slam on the Pyro, and throwing 1 more Incinerate before throwing that Flame Charge. We get the shield from Third Technical side, so now both sides are out of shields. So this is gonna be an interesting end game. That double is going to get off a body slam. We do get a snuck Incinerate there, and that body slam I don't think is going to be enough there. So this is going to be it. No, it does take it out. Okay, that is huge. So that energy goes to waste on the Pyro's side, and now it's going to get 1 more body slam off. That double just went to town. That sheep, that ram, whatever it is, the demon thing it's just doing so much work, and has almost single-handedly gotten the point for the Dutch against Italy.
Yeah, Pro Tactical's plays were very on point here in the second game, leading Latios and not facing any Whimsicott or a fast mover like Galerion Solobro, which could have just chunked the Latios health with the fast move, with the poison jabs. It was already a good thing, and we see a similar matchup again, and the Dragon Claw deals so much damage that you are usually forced to shield that, even if you know that it's just a Dragon Claw, or just because most of the time in the backline you will have 2 body slammers. So a Dragon Claw from Shadow Latios is definitely hurting more than any body slam.
Yeah, and I think this is the same lines on both sides, right? That we had in Battle 1. So,
yeah,
we've got the Pyro.
I don't remember. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So Tho going for maximum damage in the lead and then the double normals in the back. Look at this. The Latios is just doing so much work. Tho is going for more of a kamikaze approach where it's just do as much damage as you can and then and then make way for the rest of the competition. It does make way before actually fainting for the Oinkalone. So now it's there in the back as maybe a catch option in the end game. If necessary, the double is going to throw 1 body slam. I think it did have another body slam almost ready. Yes, it will get there. No, the body slam from Oinkalone is going to come through first, and Virgi is going to let this go and invest everything into that third Pokemon, which is the Pyro.
It's going to be very hard because at this point we still have a fully green health double and this Oinkalone. You can't really farm it down, you have to throw something. So it is going to be extremely tough for him.
We'll see if this Pyro can get the job done. It is like just those tackles alone are doing so much damage, and you know that the tackles from double are going to be doing the same thing. Unfortunately for Virgi, has to throw that flame charge, isn't able to farm down. That would have been handy to get that to get both of those flame charges on to the double, but unfortunately has to throw that first one on the Oinkalone first, and now just has 1 to throw against the double.
Yeah, and you can, at this point, you can safely just hopefully toss it down. I don't know if you really... Okay. So, Protector decides to throw a move. I think you could have... Yeah, I think just going tackle down and 5 Dragon Breath are going to...
Oh, that's
okay.
just rude.
He reaches the Dragon Claw. Nicely done.
That's the, like... Here I was thinking like, oh yeah, it's just a catch option, like you can't do anything, it can't get to another move, but oh no, there's an Incinerate user in the back, don't forget that. You can see Virgi has just quit and is making that Latios wait, but does get that Dragon Claw, which will KO that Pyro, and as was in the prophecy, Thotextual does get back the second and third battle, bringing it to 21-15. Whoops.
Yeah, with a 5-1 for Protectical, he's being the pillar of Netherlands, trying to get the hopes high until the end for a potential final comeback. Now, what do we have now?
So next up, AJ and Inadequance are going to be coming back, and they are going to be casting.
Oh, sounds good.
Emma Lange versus Gideon. Is that how you say it? Let's
Gideon.
throw over to them.
I was gonna ask, is it Gideon? Like Guido?
It's
What?
Gideon.
I was right.
Gideon.
Yay, go me. Go me. I'm learning. I'm slowly learning Dutch, chat. My command
It's
over
one of the more difficult
languages.
moves.
My command over languages grows. Yeah, 21-15. This is a little bit of a comeback there from Tho Inadequance, but he is now off the battlefield, and the Netherlands have to find 10 points in 4 battles, and that is going to be a tall
Easy.
order. As
No, that's easy.
I mean, Emma Longa hasn't hit the field yet, so we don't know how Emma's feeling going into this matchup, but we do see a new Pokemon entering the field as well with Emma Longa. Only person to bring in Pachirisu, which, you know, if you have access to Pachirisu, and no, just because I'm Canadian doesn't mean I have Pachirisu. I live way too far south. Pachirisu has been a bulky stalwart for a lot of these people looking for the electric coverage, but not wanting to be as squishy, going to Galvantula or Ampharos I've seen. What does this Pachirisu do to the complexion of this matchup?
Well, one of the things that Pachirisu has going for it is its extreme bulk. I think at the start of the meta, a lot of players were using Dunsparce just to counter Pachirisu that was on top of the PvPoke leaderboard. And Now, Dunsparce has fallen a little bit in usage. However, there's still Latios and the normal types that use tackle, same type of attack bonus, are still pretty good there. It looks pretty free here, though, and even Latios, I would say, is not the worst matchup, even though it's all resisted. But just because on sheer bulk and the lack of bulk on Latios, all the, like, especially Thunderbolt, still does a lot of damage to Latios.
Yeah, and that bulk has always been a problem, especially if Emma's got that best buddy ribbon on the Pachi, just giving it that little bit extra. Very bulky team for the Italian battler surrounding the ever dangerous Pyroar. Gideon's got a lot of different options here, but your boys are gonna have to start picking up some slack here, Martine, to try and make this competitive. We've got round number 13 coming up here, and we are going to be riding along. I believe is going to be with Ella. We will double check here as the video comes up. But no, we are riding along with Gideon. Sorry, Emma decided not to give us anything, but that's fine. We got more double on double action for you in the lead. Again, most popular lead we've seen in this meta. Martine with the ability to dish out a wild charge and dip, and we'll have to see how both these battlers want to play their respective sheepies.
Yeah, at this point, I would say double is not even a real lead. It's just a setup for your backline.
It's very
right?
true.
Players keep letting it go.
Yeah, and you can just use double to dictate what you want. If you want alignment, if you want a shield advantage, if you want the ability to, you know, have a catch later on. I haven't seen a lot of catches today, but when they've come up, they've been very impactful, as Gideon's able to get that second body slam on. Emmalenga gonna fire here with a little sliver of health left. And it is the wild charge. It is the knockout. So Emma going to take the lead matchup.
Yeah, indeed. Gideon letting that go, getting that one tackle on the Oinkoloin, and let's see what Avalanche brings in. It is the Pachirisu, predicting the Latios in the back correctly. However, Oinkoloin does have access to Dig. Gideon not even going to bother going for Dig here.
No, it just looks like he wants to match the spam output of that Pachirisu with the Volt Switch Thunder Punch combo, being able to stack up very quickly. Maybe he doesn't want to give the Dig away just yet, but this Oinkoloin able to take a lot of this electric punishment from Pachirisu. It's not an attack-weighted squirrel. That Thunderbolt doesn't even do... I think that was about 30% there, Martine, which means theoretically this Oinkoloin can take a Thunder Punch as well, just trying to get as much damage on this squirrel as possible.
Yeah, I'm surprised why Gideon is not going for Dig there to secure a knockout, because at this point you just want damage into the backline of your opponent. Thunderbolt actually knocks out there, does a good amount of damage, and now it's just Dragon Breath versus Tackle here. I don't think you might even want to throw charge stacks here, just to get as much fast stacks in as possible. It looks like Gideon does want to pull some shields here.
Yeah, this is going to be a race to the finish with these two one-turn fast moves going at each other. It looks like Latios is going to enter the yellow first. This Oinkoloin able to weather a lot of the pressure here, and Gideon going to fire off another Dragon Claw. I'm with you, Martine. I think the play was to just go straight fast move, because it looks like this pig has the advantage in the race, and it is going to knock out the Latios here. And another point on the board for Italy, as Emmalenga able to tackle down this Shadow Latios. And that tough situation for Gideon there, but that Oinkoloin just able to weather the Dragon Breath.
Yeah, so I think if he didn't go for those Dragon Claws there, that he would get that one more Dragon Breath in to knock out that Oinkoloin at that point. And maybe then you could have Dragon Breath down the Pachirisu. Here's a great lead for Gideon.
I mean,
this is exactly where he needs Latios.
We're going to find out. No, we're not. Double instantly coming in for Emmalenga, not wanting Pachirisu to have any part of that Shadow Latios. So it looks like this might be a Dragon Claw and Dip situation. And it is. Here comes the pig.
So I think at this point, you kind of want to manage your energy as well to get to a dig on that Pachirisu. So Gideon has not revealed it or even bothered to build it so far yet. So I'm curious how he's going to play it out. in this case, Oinkoling can take these body slams quite comfortably. And at this point, you kind of have to throw before the wild charge, though. Okay, he does it.
he's got to get some use out of the energy on this pig, and he will get this body slam off. Just, I think, trying to manage levels here. The double is going to fire. Is this worth a shield for Hideon just to try and keep this Oinkalone alive? Yes, it is. We see the first shield of the matchup on that wild charge. And we are one shield each here. And this pig almost has the dig for this Patchy. Are we going to see it? Yes, we are, Martijn.
Yeah, at last. This is not the same type of tech bonus. I think this does about 50% to Pachirisu because it's quite bulky. It can take these charges quite a while. Doesn't even do 50. I think more like 40. But I don't think you get to another one. Pachirisu is going to get a scary amount of energy. Well, none of it throws.
No, and this pig has now done her job for Hideon, just putting this Pachi in a manageable range. And this Latios, I can see it waiting to come back in and put the Dragon Breath hurt on the little electric rodent. It is going to have to take a move, but Pachi having all electric moves, I don't even think a Thunderbolt does the job here on Latios. It is just a Thunder Punch, and Wouter will give encouragement as Alone enters. The Dutch really need to learn about Do Not Disturb. I mean, that's what we're learning today. But Latios, another Dragon Claw, and here comes double, and there are no shields on the field for Amalanga, and this may be academic from here, Martijn.
Yeah. I just want to say like that's just Gideon and Howie and Tomalijn doing that. I think for on behalf of the other Dutch, we do play with Do Not Disturb here because we need to get points here. I think he's trying to tackle this into wild charge range. If you then have energy left for the Pachirisu, Gideon might be in a pretty good spot here. Shielding up the dig correctly, that would have done more damage, but shields are down. This wild charge is gonna come through, and then you have energy for the Pachirisu as well.
Absolutely, and I can say it could be worse. I called a match with Creaser from California. His Uber Eats order came in while he was battling, so it could be worse. But it's not going to get any better for Amalanga as this body slam takes out Pachirisu and puts a very needed point on the board for the Dutch. Still a long way to go here, but that makes it 22-16 in favor of Italy.
Yeah, at least 3 points off, so they're very close right now. Avalanche need to step up a little bit there to close it up, but there's still a lot of room here for Italy. And yeah, Gideon needs to get those valuable points. He went like 5-1 or 6 against Brazil, but he went 0-3 against Asprascelto. Now he needs to recollect himself in this matchup here. We have, again, I'm just going to call this the fake lead, because no one ever cares for Swift Advantage here. No one cares for Dopwall or something. They're just like, here is my Pokemon that I'm going to throw out anyway. I don't want this. This is the setup for my backline.
Yeah, it is the New Zealand special. It is dub on dub. And you can just go womp, 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 because you're just gonna base your way through it. Wooter still offering that encouragement to the Dutch side as the Wild Charge connects. Oinkalone finds Alolan Raticate in here trying to soak up this energy. Now knows the dig is available on the Oinkalone, and that could be trouble for Hideon in the back if that Pachirisu is lurking.
Yeah, I think at this point, I don't think there's Pachirisu in the back, because if you expect the Latios in the back as Avalanche, you probably want to have your Pachirisu in this matchup, even though Oinkoloin does have access to Dig here. And Gideon's still not using shields. They're obviously all going into the Latios in the back. Wouter still messaging. I think at some point, where does it stop?
Someone's got to tell Wouter to chill a little bit. This pig trying to deal with this rat, and this rat is going to fire a move here. Hideon, no shields, keeping both of them for that Shadow Latias in the back. Maybe Howie's on it. Maybe Howie's telling Wouter to calm it down over there. But Double's going to get the energy here off the Alolan Raticate, and we'll see what's in the back here for Amalanga in this game 3. If it's Apache, still not going to reveal it. In comes Double to take this body slam.
Yeah, I think this charge superiority tie as well. So this energy from Avalanche is gone now. Oh, actually puts up the shield. Another.
Now Wes is getting. All the Dutch team is in on this. Double just gonna eat this body slam. Here comes Latias. It is Oinkalone in the back. Amalanga went triple normal. and now is a shield down. Hideon can take advantage of these charge moves this time and fires off this Dragon Claw.
Yeah, that was such an important charge stack priority tie because using the shield just makes this way more comfortable for the Latios.
Yeah, and we see the second Dragon Claw here, not needing that psychic move. It's all about the dragon damage for this Shadow Latios. As Oinkalone goes down, and Dubwool will try, but there are still 2 shields, and that Dragon Breath will get the job done this time for Hideon. A 2-1 win over Amalanga 23 puts the Netherlands down 22-17. 5 more points to make up. There are 3 more matches to go. So, you know, still not out of the realm of possibility here. But you need to go 7-2 to tie this one, Martijn. It's again a tall order, but we'll see if your Dutch compatriots are able to pull this off as we move into the next matchup. Philbeg against Hirok, 1996. We'll see the Slowbro, we'll see the Hypno again, and if you're Hirok, you just have to hope you can keep. I think mostly that Alolan Raticate and check, just because Philbeg's going to be able to use that as such a sponge if he can't get Florges on it.
Yeah, I would be more concerned about the Slowbro here, honestly. It can win everything. The double ice are not great into Confusion Slowbro, which we've seen before. Pyro has resisted fast attacks there, which are quite slow, and it's fragile. Hypno, okay, I guess that might be more of a challenge, but it's only Thunder Punch, and you can take those a little bit better as the Slowbro. Yeah, I'm curious how Guido is going to play this one out. I think the energy on Dugong might be your best shot, but both Galvantula and Slowbro together seems like such a pain to deal with here.
I mean, there's a chance for a Water Gun Lapras to do some work against it, just with the sheer volume of fast move pressure, and the Slowbro already having revealed Surf. That means you don't really have to worry about a charge move until it gets to Psychic, which is going to be at least 5 Confusions. That does give the Lapras a little time to work in that matchup, does give the Dugong as well. So there are ways, but Hiro does have to piece this together to try and keep Dutch hopes alive for that first trophy, or if they'll settle for second place. We will see.
Well, yeah, he is the Clutch King, so anything is possible with Guido.
We are riding along with Philbeg, all Italian action here on the commentary as we vie 4 more points. Double finds Pyroar in the lead, and this is nowhere near as comfortable as you want it to be. For this double, you cannot let this Pyroar get rolling.
Yeah. Power immediately putting up a shield that makes sense for Guido because Power is very fragile and arguably one of his better Pokemon. I'm actually kind of surprised to see it considering how strong the Slowbro is for Fieldback, but Guido making the call there that there wouldn't be in the lead. And this double should just barely... Oh, actually making the mistake on throwing on Charge Stack Priority! Are you going to shield this now?
You might have to if you're Philbeg. That's a brutal cap tie as the Nitro Carica does get the final shield out of this double just to make sure this body slam comes off. That is unfortunate timing for the Italians. Might be the break that the Dutch needed. Can you incinerate down here? You can, but he's not going to. He's going to go to the double here and pull out the Raticate. I think I would have cleared that double from the field, Martijn.
Yeah, I think one more Incinerate may have knocked it out, but I think Guido just didn't want to take the chance there, so I understand that he does swap out there. Going for the Crunch there. Again, no, there's never a debuff on the first Crunch, it seems, in this series. And that puts Guido in a decent spot in this matchup here.
He does have the energy advantage, getting that double in first here. The Corpus Control doing its work. It's not going to be enough. 2 of them are not going to be enough to take out this Alolan Raticate, though. And Philbeg's Rat. Oh, the Wild Charge can't do it either. The Spritzalampo does not get the job done. And this Alolan Raticate is going to crunch away. I'm not going to try the Italian for crunch. I am not that bold. But that crunch will knock out Dubwool.
Ooh,
and that's a whole Incinerate. That's great energy for this Pyroar, but that Slowbro is in the back, Martijn. Is it going to be able to handle this shields down against Hidok's Pyroar?
Oh, look at that. Oh, and the patience to go for the wild charge here. This is very smart. I think Guido was expecting Fuelback to throw immediately, but Fuelback knows that he has some time before the Incinerate lands. So he waited a little bit and then goes for the wild charge. Ingenious play, and this puts him in such a good spot, because I think that the Incinerate is one Incinerate off a charge attack. Look, this is how you do it. If at least blur the screen if you're not on Do Not Disturb, right?
Clearly the Italians have the advantage here, but I think you're right. Slowbro just able to farm down here. If that Pyroar does not have a move, it is going to be over for Hiro. The Giravitas are doing a lot of work, but there's a surf and a half, 2 surfs on this Slowbro. There is no move on the Pyroar, and Philbeg is going to move Italy one step closer with a win here in game number 1 against Hiro. And just very well done. I love you pointing out the double there, just having the patience. You know you can do 3 tackles before that Incinerate registers. So great move by Philbeg, making sure the energy did what it needed to do.
Yeah, it's almost like he deserves to be in this final here.
Almost.
Very heads-up play from him. Yeah,
Might be all right at this game.
Remind me to chase Guido after this stream that he should upload his recordings sometimes, because, man, embarrassing. Also, his lineup with
this is embarrassing.
Oh my goodness, Guido! Oh no,
the double finds the Pyroar, double comes in. This is a free shot for Philbeg. This overheat would just cook this double. Vampata is shielded, and in comes this double now with the advantage on the protection. And it barely got to a body slam before. It should have 2 now for Philbeg's double. Maybe Hiro can win some love back in your eyes and use this energy advantage.
Well, let's see. First, another body slam comes through, but man, Florges does not really overcome a Pyroar very well. I already found it very bold from Guido in game 1 to win with the Pyro lead and Dougal in the back versus a potential Slowbro on the opposing line, which worked out well for him. But I really hope he has something better against Pyro in the back now. He barely gets to this charge deck. If this is a wild charge, this could be still okay.
I mean, if he can flip alignment here, that would be huge, but the body slam is not gonna cut it, and double maintains the alignment. In comes Florges to try and farm this down. This is gonna be a fair amount of energy, because these fairy winds are doing nothing to this double, and the Spritza Lampo does take out half, but I don't think Hiro cares, knowing that this Pyroar is waiting to come back in.
Yeah, going for perfect timing there from Guido. And even if this is a Moonblast, it still would do a lot of damage to this. It is a Moonblast, and it puts this so low. Oh my goodness!
No.
Oh no! Someone call an ambulance! Hey, he's on left! He's on left!
We don't see that very often. The rare top left.
The rage quit, yeah.
in Gymbreakers, but what can you do? That was an absolute demolition of a line call by Philbeg. Yeah. I mean, Hiro has to do something here to survive and keep the Dutch alive, and he's going to get Florges on double this time. Hey, it worked this time. He got Florges on something that isn't Pyroar, but man, Hiro, what are you coming back from here?
Is he coming back from anything? Because I still have to see it. This is looking so rough. After leading Florges in game 2 into Pyroar, he takes the risk again, trying to get the Alone Eradicate lead, but it's in the back again. Disarming Voice bait is caught. I think you get Charge Security Tie on the Moonblast here, and that means that Florges would win the 0 shields here. I don't know if Philbeg binds, though, because your Alone Eradicate is safe from this now. Oh, he does shield.
Yeah, and you do shield the double here, knowing that the Moonblast is likely coming. But like you said, Inadequans, both times Florges led, both times it did not find Alolan Eradicate. And now it is gone from the matchup, maybe thinking Pyroar's back there instead. But here comes Water Gun Lapras. About time Lapras showed up here to give the Dutch some hope, as this Lapras is trying to work away at the remains of this double. Shield advantage is in Huidok's favor,
Oh,
but he does use it
shield.
on the body slam. I don't know what else Hidok can do to try and win some favor back in
Feel
Dutch
back.
eyes here.
Yeah, I feel like just playing with his food at this point. AJ, if it's the slow bro in the back again, I may or may not cry. I cannot make promises here.
I mean, if the Hypno's in the back again, I mean, it'll be over, and you will have time to go get some tissues for those tears. Hiro trying to do something. There's the surf bait on the slow bro,
Ooh.
and it is double in the back. He was not putting Hypno back there again. But this double has to do a lot of work against a 2/3 health slow bro, and here comes that Alolan Raticate free from the Florge's torment to just rip whatever it wants, and here come these crunches, Martine.
I think this is so rough to overcome. You need to come out with energy somehow against a Slowbro to get to a wild charge. But I think Slowbro's even one confusion off another charge attack. So this looks kind of impossible for Guido to overcome at this point. Body Slam comes through here, but even a wild charge afterwards, I don't think will be enough.
No, and maybe that's what Hito wants. I think he wants to put this Raticate in farm down range for Lapras, because I think the only chance you have is skull bashing that Slowbro. There's the wild charge on the Captai. Alolan Raticate is going to get rid of double here, and now it's going to be a matter of what is the second move on Hito's Lapras. Is it Skull Bash? It has to be able to get rid of Raticate. It does here. It's going to have a little bit of time, but a Surf might knock it out from here. And it looks like it is going to be the case, as this Slowbro is able to clear Hito's Lapras from the field. And that, unfortunately, Martine, is going to do it. A 3-0 from Philbeg in pair number 14 is going to be enough to clinch this match for the Italians. They win it 25-17 over the Netherlands, denying them their first gold medal. But hey, silver's fine, right?
Yeah, it's a prize.
It's a something.
Yeah, well played to Italy. Good games. It was an honor to be. I think this is our first finals ever for Netherlands. I don't know before we quit if we got to any finals, but it was fun to be there. And honestly, at the moment we got there, it still didn't really have that grasp, because we've just been playing. Yeah, we've just been playing, like, in Dutch, I would say, at least I'm speaking for myself here. In Dutch, we call it chicken without heads. You just play matchup after matchup, and then
A fresh matchup to be able to see was really fun. And you know, that run there at the end, I mean, you know, you can blame Wooter for all that. Clearly Wooter's fault, but
I agree.
just an amazing battle. Leonardo's here. We have the full screen. Leonardo, any thoughts on the Italian victory?
Well, it was a great final, because we assisted to a couple of back and forth. Both teams took the lead at some point. Unfortunately, a couple of trio just paved the way for Italy to the win. But I would say it was really nice to see Netherlands playing Gymbreakers at high levels again. And I think we all hope for one more comeback in the next wave. Martijn will tell us, but yeah, it's great to see some great players for Netherlands just coming together, gathering and playing Gymbreakers again.
Fish, I know you've enjoyed this roller coaster of a ride. Any thoughts here on what you saw from Italy and the Netherlands?
I was just super glad to be involved. I always like a closer matchup, but that's okay. The battles were hype nonetheless. seeing just the little intricacies and nuances of how each of those matchups were played, because like that's the whole thing with PvP, right? Is like a lot of the same Pokemon get used a lot of the time. Like we saw a lot of double versus double, a lot of double versus Oinkologne, etc. But these players have gotten to the point where they're so good they can identify all those tiny little nuances that just make such a huge difference in the result of the match.
And yet no one picked up on a Alolan Ninetales against Double or Oinkologne except me. That's all I'm gonna say. But no, happy to put Sovereign to bed. It was a tough meta. It really showed a lot of skill and energy management, like we said. It was knowing when to get out with those debuff moves, knowing when to be able to fire that energy. And, you know, it was only sometimes RPS. It just seemed to all happen to Hidok. So, you know, sorry for him. But it is what it is. And it is the end of the stream here. We're going to go around and give some socials. We're going to start again to my right. But I imagine if you're not already following Inadequence, are you really a Pokemon Go player? I mean, just a thought. You should probably be following him. He's one of the most notable names in the community. But Martine, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitch under Inadequence. You can find me on YouTube under Inadequence, and on X under Inadequence Pogo. I'm sometimes on Twitch, sometimes on regional championships. Yeah, I think I'm on some places.
You're in a lot of places. And well earned, by the way. To my diagonal on the bottom, FishOnAHeater, the maestro behind the scenes of Pallet Town PvP, getting a chance to be in the spotlight here. Let the people know where they can find you.
Right here. I do all of my work with Pallet Town PvP, so we are a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel, a Discord server. We're on TikTok, Insta, basically anywhere where things happen online, we're there. Pallet Town PvP.
That's great. Leonardo, you can take the trophy home to Italy and tell the people where they can see you and your work.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm on Discord and Leonardo77. I'm on X, and since the nickname Leonardo was already taken, I am actually found by Leo Contreras, which is my part of name and surname. You can find me on Metafy as well, so if you ever will need some coaching, you can find me at metafy.gg/@Leonardo77. And I think that's it. I will host again some Devon tournament with my San Benedetto community after several months of silence. So make sure you check our Discord, San Benedetto. I will put the link as well in the chat if you want. And I think that's all for me. Thanks for hosting. It's been fun to be here again.
San Benedetto, one of those like premier circuits. So happy to see them back in. I guess Fish is raiding out, so I'll make this quick. I'm here at Final Boss AJ. You can find me on Twitch, where I now have a check mark. Get wrecked, Twitter. You can find me over there at A_J_Andrews, because Twitter is dumb. Always has been, always will be. I'm also on Metafy, but I'm cheaper, so you can hire me and not get as good results, but I'm more funny. So I'm over there at Final Boss AJ. I'm on Threads at Final Boss AJ. I'm not on YouTube or TikTok because I'm lazy and only stream here on Twitch. So follow me on Twitch if you want to see more of this. Hopefully you do. Anyway, we are going to raid Wholesome. Wholesome's live, so we're going to check in with the mayor. Again, Martine, Leonardo, Fish, thank you for having me back. I missed this so much. If you can't tell, all the talking I've done, I've missed being back on these Gymbreakers broadcasts. So hopefully I will be back again when we have the Genetic Cup final. Yes, it's probably going to be genetic. I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, give Olsen some love, everybody. We'll do this again soon. Cheers.
Bye.
And done.